What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers, and today is Sunday, 2019. I didn't write the date in the script. See, this is why scripts are important. September 15th, 2019, and this is episode number 104. And today on our show, we have somebody who's pretty good at manifesting dope shit. We've got a fellow streamer, a fellow podcaster, destiny extraordinaire, and a mental health advocate. And so please, everybody, give a warm welcome to SheSnaps.
Hi.
How's it going?
I laughed because I like that you used some actual energy before, you had to step away from the desk for a second and then come back in to do the intro.
Gotta bring it in.
That was very enjoyable to witness.
Snaps, thank you so very much for not only accepting the invite, but accepting the invite and showing up to when the show was actually supposed to record. So I appreciate that.
Fuck yeah, me.
So I have
some low bar kind of shit, but I will definitely show up for it and take the credit.
As long as there's a bar, that's what matters. The first thing that I need to ask, which is one of the things that I'm most curious about, is what made you accept the invite? So when I was having a podcast and inviting people on, you obviously, I know you have your own podcast and you have guests on yours as well. And I don't know if this is necessarily a new streamer thing or if you still experience it now. Sometimes you reach out to people, they either see it and don't respond, they don't respond at all, they say yes and then they don't show up. So it's kind of like a hit or miss game finding people to be on a show. And the group of people that you think will be good to have on a show are already kind of narrow because you want to find somebody that you think that you can have a good conversation with or somebody that's kind of like-minded. So I would love to know, and I want your 100% honesty, what made you go, I haven't really interacted with this person a whole lot, but yes, I would like to be on the show.
In general, I told people a while ago, I'm pretty open to being on whoever's podcast, whatever. I'll give it a shot. I don't fucking care. I like talking to people. It's what I do all day. If y'all want to talk to me, let's fucking talk. I remember, I don't remember a lot of things when it comes to the way that people approach me about stuff because it's generally very, it's the same shit.
Right.
Hey, I'd like you to be a part of this. And I'm like, all right, cool. Fuck it. Let's go. You're the only person who ever invited me with a video.
Okay.
So I was like, the fuck is this guy? What the fuck? And I'm checking my watch. I'm like, how long is this fucking... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 8 minutes, I think.
It was a long video.
It was long.
And I have ADHD, but whatever. We powered through. But I remember thinking this is very interesting. Because part of it, you're thinking the audacity of someone to send me, and this is any person, not because I do what I do,
right.
The audacity that someone would expect me to stop what I'm doing and watch something for 8 minutes.
Right.
But I was like, all right, let's just roll with it. Fuck it. And I was kind of digging the vibe. I was kind of cracking up as I was watching it because I was like, okay. So who dares? He dares.
Right.
I'm with you.
And you know what? I've never thought about it that way. That is and this is the reason why I want to ask questions like this is because I want to hear responses like that because I never would have seen it from that perspective and I never would have thought that.
Yeah, and it's funny because Jobei's being a dick in chat talking about the audacity of someone to approach me, a partnered streamer, but it has nothing to do with that, and it has everything to do with all of us are obsessed with our own time.
Right.
So when someone you could be a streamer or not a streamer, someone sends you a video and you're like, ugh. they sent me a link. I'm supposed to first of all, I have to click on it.
Yep.
Then I have to pay attention to it. And sometimes people are sending me stuff that's 30 seconds. And I'm like, ugh.
30 seconds is too long off the bat.
Yeah. This is so much. But I was kind of cracking up. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And I love that you just sent me an 8-minute fucking video on why you think we should have a conversation. I'm like, are we having a conversation right now? I think you're having a conversation with me, but I'm not there yet.
I had a picture of you taped to my windshield as I was driving. I think she's responding to me. Yeah, that just took a weird turn. I'm sorry. So if you would have gotten, so here's kind of like my dilemma. I love video and I love audio, and I try to talk in text as least as possible. And so when I think about inviting people, do I want it to just be like another emotionless paragraph? Like if it would have been like a 4-paragraph text, would you have been more interested to read that than to watch the video?
I think you should be in this, this is me telling you your business when I'm about to tell you I don't think you need anyone telling you your business. Like,
It's
obviously I'm
conversation.
here,
Right?
right? Like,
Right.
whatever you're doing, just go with what feels right. Like, if sometimes you're like, I'm gonna send them a formal fucking message saying like, hello, sir or madam or whatever, to have you on my podcast, then cool. If you're like fucking stuck in traffic and you're bored and you decide that you're going to record an 8-minute video and send that to them instead, like, go with it. I think you know the audience that you're looking for. So the people who
Right.
aren't going to like kind of buckle in and go for it, like, you didn't probably want them on your podcast anyway. But
Right.
like what you're doing, I think it's working.
And I think to your point as well, when we talk about being obsessed with our time, that's like, okay, I don't have the time to kind of sit down and write this out. But if I have a 30-minute drive and I can just dash mount the camera and just kind of record, it's like that's probably my selfish like perspective on it. But yeah, I 100%. I'm glad. Thank you for being honest with me.
Yeah, it worked. And like, I don't know how often I would like, I don't know if you would hit me like a month before that or a month
No.
after that,
Mm-mm.
if I would have watched all fucking 8 minutes of it.
Right.
But like, you piqued my interest to the point where I was like, who the fuck? What the fuck?
Who
And then I
does
started
this?
watching, and I'm like, all right, dude's got a good voice. Like, he's got a good personality. I kind of dig the vibe. Like, I got a good sense, I think, of who you were from the video that you sent me. So even though, like I said, like, whatever, I'll be on your fucking podcast. Like, I like
Right.
talking to people. Even though I probably would have said yes regardless, it was cool for me to know in advance, like, oh, we're probably gonna have a good time tonight. Like, we're probably gonna have some good conversations because I think this dude's pretty fucking chill.
Well, thank you. And I think that's kind of like my end goal was like, I need to put exactly how I am out on the table, and they can either pick it up and we can do it, or we can just both move on and it's all good.
I liked the video. It was personalized too. It's a nice personalized touch. Everything we do in this industry is very like insert name here kind of bullshit.
Right. And that's kind of what I like to get away from. And it's just like, I feel like it's such an untapped resource. Like we have so many platforms that have these video capabilities, but a lot of us kind of prefer to talk in text. And obviously there is a huge part of that is social anxiety. People don't like confrontation. It's way easier to talk in text. But that's just not who I am. So I kind of try and roll in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I dig it. It was entertaining. I couldn't tell you what the fuck you said in the video. I don't know how long ago that was. I remember that you were in your car. I remember the like, what the fuck? All of the thoughts of that. But I also remember like, having that same vibe of like, I'm smiling at the what the fuck. It wasn't like, what the fuck? It was like, what the fuck?
Good. So one of the main, or I guess one of my favorite parts of doing these types of podcasts, and also like when I am listening to another podcast, I kind of like hearing how two paths cross and hear how we got to this point. So I would say, well, I guess you could tell me, how long has it been since you had your artwork professionally done by Twaz? When you first got the overhaul of everything.
Fuck, man. He did the SheSnaps logo because like I got the Mind of Snap stuff too. So he did the SheSnaps logo. I remember exactly where I was when he sent me like the updated version of what he was working on, and it was at Guardian Con 2 years ago. I was standing outside at the grotto. I was sweaty as fuck. It was hot and like rainy and just moist, gross Florida air. And I got the text or the message from Twaz saying, I got something for you to look at. And he was sending me my the like flashing neon screen of my SheSnaps logo. And I just like stopped what I was doing, like rotate the phone. And I'm like, oh fuck. And then I immediately like grabbed like every person within like arm's reach and was like, come here, come watch this, come look at this. That's my new logo. Holy fuck. Like Twaz is a fucking genius.
Sweaty girl in an alley invites crowd of people. Come here.
Yes.
Come look at this.
Less alley, more bar patio that like may as well have been an alley for the space that we had at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, it was that. It was very much excited. Like, I don't care who you are. I'm like grabbing your face, like pulling closer, like, come here, look at this.
Getting artwork. I'm sure that on the other side of it, the artist who creates the work looks at it and they're proud. But on the other end, us seeing what the artist has created and just being all about it, that moment of like bliss of seeing the artwork for the first time in its completed state, and you just really vibe with it. Those first like 10 to 15 seconds are fucking awesome. And they're some of kind of my favorite.
It's a beautiful thing. When you have an idea, like when we're talking about you and your brand, right? When you have an idea of who you are and you're like, how do I ask someone else to make something that's like a rendering of that? Like, how do you condense all that you are into a fucking logo or like color pattern or whatever? And I'm really grateful to have known Twaz a long time because I've been able to just give him free reign. I'm like, hey, here's the deal. I need a logo. I need branding more than a logo because like anyone can draw a logo. Branding, like obviously, like there's color psychology. There's a lot that goes into it. So it's nice that I could go to him and be like, look, you get my vibe. I don't want anything that is too, rounded edges and like Comic Sans MS kind of shit. I don't want like the super floral stuff. Like I'm a woman, I'm a strong person, I'm like proud of where I'm from, but I'm also cool for whatever. Like he knew how much I valued like Chicago, so he brought in some cool aspects of Chicago into the design that like it's almost like if you're not from there, you don't notice it as much. But then when you see it, like being from Chicago, you're like, something about this like speaks to me, you know? So that's the cool thing, was being able to say like, hey, Twaz, like whatever you want to do, like you know who I am, you know what I'm trying to like present here. Can you create something that matches that? And then to have him however long later show me that and me be like, oh, I could not have even like, if I had tried to sketch out ideas, if I had tried to like close my eyes and imagine like best case scenario, I would not have been able to come up with anything close to what he actually did. And then when he gave it to me, I was like, me. You know?
Like it encapsulated you perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. First of all, I think what you brought up about the additional details that you convey to Twaz about what you were looking for outside of what they could draw. Like, you know who I am, my personality, you know what type of person that I'm trying to portray, you know what I'm trying to be. And to give that sort of creative freedom to somebody, it takes an insane amount of trust. And
yes.
it's also, it's such an important part of finding an artist, because there's people who can just draw your idea. You say, hey, I want the word wow with a fucking butthole behind it, and you get what you want. And then there's other people who are like, you know what? I got this. Let me take this and they can make something awesome. And
I think one of the things that's tough, and part of this, like I have experience in like working with creatives when I had my web design company too, well, development, all the shit. I think a lot of people get into design and branding because they're so creative, and then they just get like fucking hammered down into like, all right, yeah, if that's what you want, I'll make the word wow with a butthole. Like, sure, bruh.
Got you.
You're right. Yep, that's your vibe, totes. So it's nice to like have enough trust in someone and also let them fully like live up to their own potential. Like, they got into being artists or creatives for a reason. Like, let them create. If you try to control the process too much, if you try to like micromanage it, it's like you're just shitting all over that like awesome creative flow that they're able to tap into. So I'm just like, listen, Twaz, you know me, you know, like, although I don't abide by like the traditional gender norms anymore of like girly, masculine, that kind of stuff. Like he knows that that's still like I'm not like a pink and flowers kind of gal, you know? So being able to say like, can you somehow make this something that feels okay for me to show as a woman, but that isn't overly about being a woman? Can you make it something that is strong and soft all at once? Like, I could not have explained all of that, but instead it was just like, hey, like, you know what I'm about. Can you do this? And then he came up and was like, okay, here's what you are. Here's what you're not. I got you. And then created an awesome fucking logo.
So that first logo, I can't remember. I'm trying to go back in time and figure out when I found Twas first. So I know that I've been following him for at least 2 years. I want to say that I started following him just before then. But as always, whenever he has artwork comes out, he tweets it out and usually comes with like the Twitter or the stream and everything. And I remember going to your stream, clicking on that link, and Twitch loaded, your logo loaded first, and then as soon as your video came up, it was just go. And so that was my first experience of the channel.
About right.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about just kind of mental health in general. You were having a couple different conversations with a couple people in your chat, and I just remember thinking it was so different. It was something that I had not seen on Twitch yet, and I was just super about it. And I believe back then I was at a job that allowed me to do a lot of Twitch viewing during work hours, and where now it's my Twitch viewing hours are from like 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. now. I can never watch during the day. But I remember seeing that, and that's kind of how I got introduced to your channel. And then obviously lurking here and there. There was one stream you did where you were focusing on meditation. You were talking to people about the benefits of meditation, kind of your history with it. You were playing different songs that you really liked. And then you provided me with my first and only playlist of meditation songs that I have used since. Yeah, way back. And this must have been a year and a half ago. It must have been like a good while ago. And then I'm trying to think of, there was something else that kind of popped up in between then and now. It was your panel talk that was at PAX?
Guardian Con.
Okay. It was about a 20-minute talk. And then I remember listening to that and being like, okay, you know what? This lady knows how to manifest dope shit. I would love to pick her brain. And there's like a couple things that I still want to ask you about how you kind of run your stream. But it was at that time where I was like, okay, you know what? This is somebody that I truly vibe with. I would love to have him on the show. And that's how we kind of got here.
And now we're here. That's cool that it was the meditation that did that. So are you meditating?
I am very on and off with it. I'm trying to... The first mistake I made was being like, in the dead of winter and saying, I want to be able to meditate outside. And then so I pushed it off until going outside. And then when I did start going outside, it was too hot and it was too sweaty. I didn't have a good place to do it. And so I kept like making these excuses to not do it. And so it's been like 6 months to a year of trying to overcome like these stupid speed bumps, which seem like mountains at the time. But then you kind of look back and you're like, wow, I just really love making excuses for myself to not do certain things. The time where I find myself doing it the most is in between clients when I'm at work. So it's not sending people videos in the car is not the only thing I do. It's where I meditate. It's where I eat lunch. So not as actively and routinely as I would like. But it is something that I have seen. I won't say all the benefits from because I haven't gotten a routine of doing it. But just from doing it as much as I have, I've really been like, wow, this is extremely powerful. This needs to be in everybody's life. Like everybody needs some sort of kind of winding down. The one thing that I got into before meditation was the 4-7-8 breathing technique that I used to try to at least do one a day. So that was kind of my first warming up to the idea of meditation. Because I was pretty cynical about it, if I'm being honest at first.
Same.
But it's kind of the definition of having a closed mind, right? You have all these things that you could spend some time researching and getting some information about. But you're like, nah, that kind of seems like bullshit.
Not for me. It's bullshit. I thought
Nah.
it was hippie bullshit. Absolutely.
Right, absolutely. And I grew up with, I don't want to say hippies, but hippie-ish people, and kind of the whole like meditation and like marijuana and all the things that kind of encapsulated that lifestyle. I was very, it just wasn't for me at that time, and I kind of had a very cynical outlook on it for a super long time. But I'd like to think that now I'm kind of opening up my eyes.
Well, that's good. So now you are meditating,
Yep.
like on a regular basis,
It's
consistently or reactively?
it's kind of reactively right now. I wish that I could say, yeah, I do it, once every 3 days or 3 times a week, but it's more so like once a week. I find myself having the time, and I'll knock it out. And that's pretty much where it's at right now.
So I got a triple dog dare for you.
Okay.
I'm bringing the big guns. We're just going to start right with the triple dog.
Lay it on me.
1 minute of meditation every day.
Oh, as opposed to doing like long form meditation.
Yeah, 1 minute.
I could
Be
probably
realistic
do that.
with your time. Like if you can, obviously, like the more you can kind of like let go and sink into a meditation, so to speak,
Right.
there's a lot to be gained from that. But the practice is so important that 1 minute a day is enough. It's the consistency over the time for sure. So be realistic with yourself. If you know you can do 5 minutes a day and you're not going to be stressing like, oh, are my temperature conditions right? Is this the right environment kind of shit?
Get out of my head.
Like, okay, I'll just do this for 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. Like it counts. It really does. So I would challenge you to figure out what that time is for yourself. If it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10, 20, an hour.
Okay.
And then just say it. I'm a person who meditates every day for X amount of time.
And that way, if you say it, then it becomes reality. I guess.
Well, you got to take some action too. I can't just be like, I am the leader of the circus.
I am meditating.
Like, never actually like do anything. Exactly. So like, you throw some empowering words out there and you chase them with a little bit of action, and suddenly you are a fucking person who meditates every day.
That is something that's never occurred to me, that you could break it down. I guess my first noob thought is a minute enough time for me to get into that state of mind, like that relaxed like state of mind to where I'm actually benefiting. I would take your dare and push it up to, let's see if I can do 5 minutes a day. Because I feel like if I just do 1 minute a day, I'm not going to, I don't know if that's enough time for me to like wind down to where I can kind of get to that state to where it's beneficial. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong.
I think maybe it's because you're assigning some expectations to it versus just accepting that, like, that it's good for you to be in that moment, whether it's a minute or 5 minutes. You're expecting to be able to come out of it feeling relaxed. Okay. Not every meditation is going to have you feeling necessarily relaxed after. Some of them you might feel kind of amped up. Some of them you might feel like any number of things,
Right.
It's putting you in touch with yourself so that you can feel more equipped to make decisions in the moment. So if 1 minute gives you that ability to kind of exercise your control over your mind and your body, like that 1 minute can do a ton for you. Like we're so frantic. That's one of the things that I've noticed the most is we feel pulled in a million directions at once. It's like, okay, my body wants me to move my hand this way, my leg this way. When you try to settle into a meditation, then it's my thoughts are jumping all over the place. My back aches. I got to get up. What's that noise? I should go investigate. So when you exercise control and you say, I don't give a fuck about any of that, for 1 minute, I choose to focus on my breathing. It's challenging, but that 1 minute, that is like one of the best workouts you can give your brain, is to say like, listen, for 1 minute of today, I was in full control of this shit.
Interesting.
It reminds you again what you're capable of. That 1 minute a day, it maybe isn't going to give you some kind of amazing Zen-like lasting peace.
Right.
But it's a reminder that you have that option all the time. Instead of being overwhelmed by everything that's going on and feeling like you need to go, you can just say, shut the fuck up. I'm just going to exist for 1 fucking minute. 1 minute. I choose this minute to focus on my breathing. And that 1 minute can feel so much longer. It can feel so much more, right?
Right.
Than when you look at your watch and you're like, oh shit, I got to get started in a minute.
Right.
That minute when you're like, I got to get started in a minute goes like that. But in a meditation, that minute when you're saying, I choose what I'm going to feel, I choose what I'm going to experience right now, kind of slows it down. It helps you to feel like the rest of your day is a little bit more slowed down too. And
Okay.
over time, building that skill,
Right.
you're regaining your focus above all else. Like 1 minute a day of exercising control of focus can do wonders for you over time.
I wonder. So one of the issues, like you just said, of just saying shut up, is my first thought of being outside and meditating is I live in a busy street. I'm outside and I obviously wear my AirPods, so I'm trying to seal out outside noises. But my first thought is I'm sitting here not being able to hear anything. My back door is open and my girlfriend's inside, and that's kind of like my first thought is I am now at a disadvantage, and I'm thinking about what would happen if I was sitting here and somebody walked right past me, or I got a shovel to the face. So that's kind of like my first road bump, or that's the first mountain to climb, is to try to like just get rid of that anxiety and be like, it's going to be fine if you close your eyes for like 60 seconds. Because what happens if I'm just walking down the steps and I slip and I hit my head and I pass out and I'm out for 30 minutes and then something happens then? So it's trying to centralize.
Something that might help you in that, especially if you like going outside and you want to try to get your meditations in outside.
Mhm.
Rather than closing your eyes completely, which, like, I would obviously still say, like, go with it if you feel like challenging yourself. Some people like to just lower their gaze. So you kind of pick just like the ground right before you. You
Okay.
can keep your eyes open, you just bring them down. That way you can still feel a little bit more in control of your surroundings. You feel a little bit less
Okay.
vulnerable than with your eyes completely closed because you'll notice shadows and things.
Right.
But all of that's going to go blurry kind of once you start focusing on your breath again.
Okay. Interesting. Well, thank you for all the info. Like, this is kind of some of the conversation that I wanted to have, because obviously somebody who's just now getting into it, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the secrets. And just like with anything in life, there are so many different ways to tackle a certain end game.
Yeah.
Holla. Um, so interesting. Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot. One of the things that kind of happens in between work and I have like a 25-minute drive home, and that's usually when I crash. It's like during the drive home is when I go from being amped up and sort of kind of awake, and then by the time I get home, I'm just kind of crashing. And I usually am taking a nap of some sort. Not so much lately because I've kind of I started doing the 1 meal a day diet. Have you ever heard of that?
Yo, I'm on
Okay.
OMAD.
Are you really?
Yeah, I've been fasting since almost 2 years now.
You've been doing 1 meal a day for 2 years straight?
So I started out with the 16-8.
Okay.
But eventually started realizing that I felt better on 1 meal a day.
That's
So
how
like
I
sometimes
feel.
I'm still kind of flexible with it. I might wind up like right now I broke fast with this lovely smoothie. I have
Okay.
a salad waiting in the fridge. I'm going to have that later. Um so like there are some times where I'm kind of just eating within like I would say an 4 to 8 hour eating window.
Okay.
But I definitely don't snack all day. I notice a massive difference in my body when I eat like right when I wake up or earlier on in the day.
Yes.
So 1 meal a day, like with the right food especially, that is how I feel my best.
That's okay. So, me and my girlfriend did 16-8 fasting for on and off, I'd say anywhere between like 4 and 5 months.
Mhm.
And at first doing it, me trying to do 16-8 fasting was way more difficult than trying to get into the 1 meal a day. Like the waiting until noon to eat was so daunting. Like every single day was a struggle. And now with 1 meal a day, I'm like, oh man, I'm hungry. But then I just don't eat. And then I just kind of wait until I get home. My focus during the day, my sleep during the night, when my alarm goes off, I wake up better. And then obviously I was trying to do so many different I was researching so many different diets and like what I kind of wanted to. I know I needed to make a change food wise. I'm more into starving myself for part of the day and being more loosey-goosey with what I eat rather than cutting out one type of food all the time. And just because I feel like I'm never satisfying that part of my brain, and I'm more likely to cheat and break out of that diet and eat that shitty thing rather than like, oh, obviously you don't want to eat Doritos and Mountain Dew for dinner if you're doing one meal a day. Like you said, you have to be a little bit more strategic with what you eat. But not having to restrict what I eat is way more better, in my opinion, for my brain. And being somebody who like loves to cook, being like, oh, I can't make that dish, can't do that, can't use that ingredient. Like I got to substitute. Like I don't have a fucking interest in any of that. Food is meant to eat, and I want to eat it. So that's the route I went.
It's interesting because whenever I talk to people about fasting, and also I would caution you to avoid using the word starve, because there's a lot of people who are very confused about what this is, and like starvation mode versus what it actually is that your body is doing are very different. But I get that all the time from people like, oh, I love food way too much, I could never do that. And I'm like, listen, you don't understand the like food experiences that are like happening in here. I love food. This changed my relationship with food. This made it so that I enjoy my food even more, because I'm not just like taking it for granted. When I want it, I get it. And then like I barely pay attention to the meal. I'm just watching TV and like shoveling things into my face. Instead, now, like especially with OMAD, it's so nice to feel like you're giving yourself permission to be gluttonous, even though logically you're not being.
Right.
You can make this big ass meal for yourself and you see it all spread out on the table and you're like,
where do I start?
All for me? Okay. I got you. And then you just dive in and you're like so excited and grateful. And one of the cool things about OMAD is when you're only eating one meal a day, there's no questioning of like what makes you feel like shit,
Right.
Like if you eat your OMAD, if your one meal is Mountain Dew and Doritos, there's no question of like, ooh, was it the seafood I ate? Was it this? Like, it's because you ate Mountain Dew and fucking Doritos. Like, so it makes it easier for you to see what actually feels good for your body, I think. When you're doing either the fasting window or OMAD, whatever, like fasting in general, like changes your relationship with food. It starts getting you to notice how you felt before and how you felt after. And I think that's really key.
100%. And my original reason for it was obviously weight loss was kind of at the forefront, but finding something that fit my routine and my lifestyle was kind of a little bit more prominent. So I am a network and IT administrator. So I'm a field technician. So I pretty much travel all day and fix other people's technology. And there's just times where it's go for 9 to 10 hours of fixing, driving. And food prep can suck my dick. Food prep is not like when we're talking about a relationship with food. I would so much rather take the time to make a good, tasty meal than eat the same thing, to first be fasting and then to eat the same thing 4, 5, 6 times in a row. We tried that for a good amount of time, and that's just not for me. I'm sure it's probably for a lot of people, but for me, it doesn't fit. But I found myself getting up early in the morning, and because I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to eat later, I would eat early. What's around? There's Jimmy John's, there's Panera Bread, carbs, sugar, carbs. So by the time 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock came around, I felt terrible. I was crashing, and then I would be hungry again because my body's conditioned to eating before I start work and then in the middle of the day. So now I would go out again because I'm not a responsible adult who packs their lunch. Got to go out and grab something. What's close? Jersey Mike's, Chipotle, Papa John's, like all over. And then a total small side effect was sometimes I would be so busy at work that I would eat late, and then I would get home. My girlfriend's waiting at the door like, what's for dinner? Please, God, cook something. And I'm like, I kind of ate 2 hours ago, and I'm not hungry. And eating with my significant other is a huge time for me. It's a big part of the day. It's something I cherish, and that started to kind of fuck that up. And I didn't really like that either. So the first 3 days of OMAD were accidental. I just was so busy that I didn't eat until I got home at work. And then I had this thought, like somebody has told me about eating once a day before, and it was my girlfriend and it was somebody on Twitter. And then I started doing some research and I'm like, you know what? This is it. I have to give this a shot. And it's been about 4 weeks. I'm pretty loose with it on the weekends. I'll try and wait as long as I can into the end of the day. But like for like this, if I want to have a beer during a podcast, I'm not going to stop myself from having a beer. But during Monday through Friday, hardcore, no eating until 6 p.m. And it's probably been one of the best experiences with trying to tackle it's not really a diet, right? It's just kind of restricted eating, time restricted eating. Yeah. Is that what you'd call it? Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, I had no idea that you did that. So that's awesome. So now I know who to ask for recipes and questions when I'm like, I'm dying. I don't know what to do.
What's interesting is like, I used to do the same thing, kind of like, instead of going out and like being on the road, it was more like here, you know, because I've been doing the like working from home thing for years now. So I would like get up in the morning and think like, what should I do? And my brain was like, fuck it, let's eat something. So I'd go into the kitchen and I'd kind of like eyeball fuck my cabinets, open the fridge, like, is there anything in there that I want? You know, and like nothing ever really felt that appetizing. I would just go with it because that seemed like the right thing to do. So if I didn't do it then at some point I'd start to get hangry. I'd get frustrated and irritable and I'd be like, I just need to eat something, you know? So you were constantly battling between this like, fuck it, I'll eat kind of mood and like, I am so angry right now that if someone doesn't feed me, I'm gonna eat your fucking face. You know? And I just got so tired of it. So when I started fasting, I was like, oh my God, this is the answer. Holy shit. And my boyfriend and I moved in together. We were doing long distance. So he was living in Phoenix. I'm in Chicago. He moved out here, not this past January, but the one before that. And it was like a 20-something hour drive. We researched fasting for our entire cross-country trip.
No shit.
So we got like probably 30 plus, and we've continued to research it since then, but like 30 plus hours throughout the drive of like podcasts, audiobooks, videos, like everything we could find. And like even now, if there's anything we see on intermittent fasting, we're like, let's learn.
Yep.
Because it's so misunderstood. Like I told my doctor that I was fasting and I was doing 1 meal a day, and like he was just like, that's not healthy, don't do that. I'm like, never mind. I don't know why I even fucking told you. Right. You know?
Like, I'm actually surprised. Just check
my vitals, bruh.
Right. Yeah. Am I healthy? Well, then something's not fucked. Okay.
Exactly. So, one of the things that is the most interesting about fasting is, the more consistent you can stay with it, the easier it is to stay consistent. Because it's all based on like your hormone levels, especially like, so the irritability, the hanger. People are afraid that if they do OMAD that they're going to be hangry all day, but it's not the case. I can't tell you the last time that I got irritable over not eating. Like sometimes I miss my fasting window, sometimes I don't. Like I still feel good.
Right.
And there's a hunger hormone called ghrelin. I don't know how balls deep into this research you got.
Not this deep.
Okay, so there's a hunger hormone called ghrelin, and ghrelin basically rises based on your schedule and then drops off again. So if you normally eat around noon as a habit, then your ghrelin level is going to start to raise up right before then. It's going to be like, okay, let's ready us for eating. And it's going to give you those cravings of hunger. It's going to make your mouth water. You're going to get the little tummy rumbles that's like, bitch, eat something. So ghrelin gets really confused if you're just eating all the fucking time. You know,
right.
Part of that is also like insulin spikes and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know, your body starts craving all of the sugar bombs you're giving it. But the hanger, especially from what I understand, is tied to that hormone ghrelin. So if you can keep yourself relatively consistent, then that level balances out very quickly. Like it might be a week or two max, but over time, if you stay consistent, it's just going to adapt to whatever your new schedule is. So if 6 o'clock is your eating window, then you're going to notice like 5:45, your stomach is just like, ooh, what are we getting?
Yeah. Oh, and then thinking about the hour leading up to when you're about to eat, all of the options, and they're just going through your head.
Oh, you're forming the perfect meal in your mind. It's like all day for me. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what am I gonna eat? And I usually eat somewhere between like 7 and 8 at night. So I'm up at
Late.
like I'm up between 5 and 6 a.m. I don't eat until really late at night. Partially just based on like stream schedule and my man's schedule and stuff.
Right.
But I have that whole entire day not to get like upset that I'm not eating, but I'm just like forming the perfect meal that is going to hit everything that I'm going for. Like, I want something sweet, I want something savory, I really feel like I want something juicy today, whatever. I get all of it. I'm not just eating whatever's near me. I am like in my head creating the perfect meal that when 8 o'clock comes, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to turn everything else off, and I'm going to just get in it.
Have you seen the movie Chef?
I have not, but I love the chef show.
Okay. So what some people in chat might know this dish, but currently one of my favorite things to do right now is when you're fasting and then you go to the because you have a dish in your mind and then you go to the grocery store and you grab all the ingredients and then you come home and then you cook it. So there is I don't know if I want to tell you this. There's a dish that somebody gets seduced with. It's a pasta dish. And I made it for the first time and we ate it after fasting all day. And that fucking dish, I added a little bit too much lemon, unfortunately, for my girlfriend's sake. I'm a citrus whore, so I will take all the sour things all day. But it was so good. And then I remember my first ribeye after fasting all day. And it was like I never had a steak before. I was like,
right?
Dear Christ, is this what it's like to taste food?
We take our food for granted. So
we really
hard.
do. Yeah.
And if you like actually like if you were a little more present when you ate, like a lot of this is for you, all of you. If you stop and you like fully experience your meal, you're gonna probably fall out of love with a lot of the things that you thought you loved. Because you can just taste the shit, you know? There is something to be said for that, like really fresh, like you're having like a good cut of meat, or you're having something like some kind of good like homemade pasta or some shit. Like you taste and like experience that meal completely different when you're taking shit out of like a box or out of like anything that's super heavily processed and you're experiencing that meal mindfully. It does not hit the fucking same.
It really doesn't. It really
It's
doesn't.
not enjoyable. Like our house is usually barren in terms of food because we don't snack anymore.
Right.
And like we don't have like any, I think we still have stuff in the cabinets that honestly like just needs to be purged. But we don't really bring processed foods into the house. Like we decide what we're gonna eat. We get the supplies, we make it, we eat it. You know, maybe we do a little bit of pre-planning beginning of the week, get some stuff ready for the week or whatever. But like
right.
I don't have a bunch of foods laying around in case I get hungry, which was always like the detriment, like having the stuff around that I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. Let's imbibe. Let's have this shitty food while I'm watching some shitty programming and just continue to contribute to me feeling shitty overall. I'm just pouring shit on top of shit on top of shit.
Grocery shopping
allowed it to be so much better.
It not only makes grocery shopping cheaper, but what you buy, it's like I only need to buy things for that one meal a day. So I don't need to think about what about the snacks, what about like the little dish that I want to make. Like none of that matters anymore, and it's simplified food and health for me.
Yeah, same.
Which when I'm looking into other diets and stuff, when it was like tracking all these calories, all the macros, all the micros, and the nutrients and the vitamins, I'm like, this is so much more complicated than it needs to be, and it is discouraging me from wanting to care about my own body. And again, you can't not care at all. Just eat whatever you want on OMAD. You need to be a little bit more strategic with it, but
you do have that bit of freedom and flexibility. Like when you've given your body all that time to recover from your last meal, once in a while, if you're like, fuck it, I'm going to eat a whole pizza to myself.
Right.
You will experience it in a totally different way. The aftermath is probably going to be a little bit lessened. Like I have IBS and my stomach issues like all but evaporated when I started fasting.
Really? So I've heard a lot about that, of people healing different diseases and different kind of ailments with fasting. So that's incredible.
It helped with it's interesting because it's helped me with my focus. Like we talked about that a little bit with like someone having an ADHD brain. When I'm on my fasting and meditation game and I'm eating relatively clean, like I feel like I'm on Adderall minus the kind of irritability. You
Right.
know, there's none of the underlying tension. It's just like, oh, you're in full fucking send mode. Whatever you touch, you got this.
Uh-huh.
So I'm super grateful because yeah, like my there's a lot of fear that comes along with having like stomach issues and like anything, you know, chronic
Mm-hmm.
pain, whatever. Like the anxiety about having stomach issues is like half the fucking battle.
Right.
So I would get nervous about going out and doing things I wouldn't want to eat. If I did eat, I would be like, "Oh no, I'm like uncomfortable thinking that this is going to fuck with me later." And like there are some things that I still try to avoid like having caffeine too late in the day cuz I know that can kind of fuck with your gut. Um
Really? So
well, for
so
me with IBS, caffeine can be
okay.
unpleasant for people who have irritable bowel syndrome.
That is the next thing that I want to kind of go balls deep into researching is gut health and
Mhm.
what you can do to kind of because that plays so much more into the just the mental follow your gut. Like there's so much that your gut actually does that benefits
Unreal.
the rest of your life, and that's something that I need to do some more research on.
And you're already doing a lot for it by just giving it that time to kind of like heal itself, you know. My man showed me something or told me about something a long time ago. Like I think we overcomplicate things sometimes. And the example that he was giving me was like if you're comparing yourself to like a plant, right? We look at a plant and we're like, "Oh no, you're dying." And we're not what else can I shove at you? We're like, "Okay, is it sun? Is it food? Is it water? Like, what do you need? Let me just give you more of those or give you access to those and then kind of leave you be."
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really do that for ourselves. We kind of micromanage to the point where we fuck ourselves up worse.
Right.
So sometimes it's not a matter of you needing to go out and find something. You just got to give your body some fucking time to tell you what it needs to heal, to do the things that it's designed to do,
Because
you know,
we have
take in
confused
and
it.
let go. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is interesting all of the stuff that they share about like your gut health and how your microbiome impacts your personality, your ability to control your moods, like everything. It really is there's a free, I want to say it's free documentary on Amazon called
Amazon
the
Prime.
yeah, the gut second brain
Oh,
something.
yes. Um, I've heard about this.
It's good. You would probably enjoy it. It'll
Think
get you into
twice.
like that nice rabbit hole. Mm-mm.
The brain gut connection.
Now I gotta look
Hmm.
it up.
Yeah, please do. And while you're doing that, the one thing that I did not realize until you said it, I remember worrying about whether or not my stomach grumbling was going to be an issue with fasting all day. That disappeared. Like I
Yeah.
obviously feel hungry, but I don't get the stomach grumbling of feeling like, oh my God, I'm so hungry that every 5 seconds it feels like my stomach is just shrinking and then expanding. And that
Yup.
really hasn't been a thing. Matt Weenie, has that been a problem for you too? My girlfriend, she might be in chat. But yeah, just weird. All of these side effects that I didn't even realize until I got into the heart of it. It's just been like, it's been super, super eye opening. And like you
Yeah.
had the conversation with your doctor the last time I saw my parents at a barbecue and I told them that, they were like, the cliche, but breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And just like, this is
Breakfast
so
is when I
unhealthy.
fucking want it to happen, though.
Right.
It is the most important meal of the day. I just have mine at fucking 8 o'clock.
Yep. Yep. Oh, and that's another thing. When you get to have breakfast foods for dinner instead.
Breakfast, brunch,
Mm.
and brinner all
uh,
day.
all day. And another weird side effect that's not necessarily like a physical side effect. I get to skip my lunches at work now and leave an hour earlier. Because normally on like
Mhm.
on stream days, it's work from I'm gone from 7:30 to 5:30. And then I stream at 7 p.m. all the way up until 11:30. So like that whole day is just trashed. But if I get that extra hour, it's a little bit more time I can spend with the lady. It's more time that I
Yep.
can cook. Which is, is it you or the man that cooks or both?
Um, Mostly me,
Okay.
but depending on what it is, sometimes he'll he'll take over. He can
Okay.
make some really good carne asada.
Oh fuck.
Mhm.
I did you find a love for cooking before fasting, or was it once you kind of started fasting you were like, oh, I actually have an interest in learning how this stuff works?
I love cooking. I think I've enjoyed it for a long time. One of my exes, I was really close with his mother, and she was like a chef, but in all but title. You know, like she had her own job, but she had a Viking stove. She was obsessed with cooking. Like was like that was her life. She would get home from work, she would go into the kitchen, pour a glass of wine, and her husband would just chill and talk and cook. And she would make these extravagant, seemingly extravagant meals. And I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool." So we got really close. Sadly she passed away, but I learned a lot from her. And I think that was like my relationship with her was what really made me enjoy the experience of cooking and eating even more, because that was something that I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to have that," a moment where I can hang out in the kitchen with my man and like cook and eat and chill. And things didn't work out with her son, but I'm grateful to have known her because it really changed my perspective on it. And now, like, it is one of my favorite things to be able to, whether my man is in the kitchen with me or he's chilling at the table or doing whatever. I enjoy the experience so much more than I used to. It used to be like, oh, I got to do this in order to eat.
Yep.
And now it's like, I am going to do this and I will eat.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice.
When I first got into intermittent fasting, having to meal prep meals almost kind of killed cooking for me because it became a chore to create this monotonous meal that I had to eat multiple times in a row. And I got so fed up with cooking, and I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want to spend, 3 hours on a Monday or on a Sunday, like between all of the grocery shopping and then cooking for myself. That's like 4 or 5 hours out of a day between like all of that. I'm like, you know what? I think and that's when we would go grocery shopping like every 2 weeks. So now we go grocery shopping every week. I plan for usually about 5 meals because we love going out to eat. I don't know if that's ever anything that I can suppress. So, and
Who
like,
says you have to?
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like a guilt where it's like, oh, yes, I'm trying to pay attention to my body and trying to be healthy, but then I still kind of feel bad for cheating and going out to eat. It's like it's a weird back and forth in my head a little bit.
You can choose to let go of that.
I've let go of it. I've made the decision because I'm never going out to eat, the experience of it, experiencing different types of dishes. And again, going out to eat with a person I love is like one of my favorite things to do. Like
Amen.
a night of fucking bowling, food, and then ending with like Twitch or YouTube at the end of the night. That's our prime time.
Yeah.
And
there's not much better than like sitting at a table with someone you love and eating something good, whether you made it or someone else made it. Like you're having a nice experience.
Yep. Shit, I just had a thought and it is now escaping me. Regarding when I was, one of the things that I got into trying to learn about was keto, and I ended up just not being for me. The same thing about restricting not going out to eat. If you live in the same place, in the same state, in the same country for the majority of your life, and you are on a diet that is restricting what you can eat, and you don't go out to eat, do you know how much amazing food you are most likely missing out on? And if that means that I gotta have a little gut for the rest of my life, and I'll never have the picture perfect body that I think I aspire to have, I would rather have the gut and experience all of that amazing food that's out there instead of being restrictive, because it's just such an amazing part of life, the eating of it, the cooking of it, the routine, and kind of like the ceremony of going out with friends and family, and just experiencing food is just kind of too important for me to want to kind of dial that back.
Yeah, so it's a choice.
It
You've
is.
chosen that that's the role that food is going to have in your life, and that's great. It's nice when it's a conscious choice.
Sure.
So, like keto, whatever it is that you want to do, just make that conscious choice. What role do you want food to have in your life? You might have some behaviors you got to work against, especially for folks who have built up some weight and are not at their healthiest. It might not be as easy to say, like, you know what, fuck it. I'll just be okay with like this right now when you're facing like really bad potential like heart issues or
Right.
diabetes or whatever. Um, but I think what's important there is just making that choice of like, I'm going to pay attention to this. I'm going to allow myself to enjoy it, but also know that I don't need to eat the thing that is going to make me so, so happy every single day. Like I can find joy in eating something that's a little leaner a couple days a week, knowing that at the end of the week, I'm going to have some big blowout meal. Like we just let ourselves go too much where it's just like, fuck it, I'll eat that. Fuck it, I'll eat that. So I think having that conscious choice involved makes everything a little bit easier to manage long term to where you're like, yeah, I got a little bit here. That's fine. I'm okay
Yep.
with it.
Yep.
Because I know that like if you were to look at this on like the bigger scale or on like the look at the bigger picture here, I'm eating clean like 70% of my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm allowed. I give myself permission to really enjoy those moments where I'm just like going in a frenzy over whatever it is I'm eating because that's not the norm. I'm
Right.
not just shoveling. I'm choosing.
Choosing to shovel.
Choosing. I still try not to shovel. That is a hard habit when you like food a lot. You want like
Yeah.
more and more, and you just want to like throw it all at your face.
Yep.
Everything I'm doing in my life involves me trying to slow that shit down.
Mm-hmm.
Like stop, take a deep breath, look at every single fork or spoon or whatever before it goes into your face. Pay attention to it, look at the colors, look at the textures, like experience that meal. And if you slow down, especially for folks who tend to eat too much or overindulge, it's a lot easier for you to be in tune with your body and to notice when you're feeling full and you don't need that next thing. But
Right.
when you're just like shoveling an entire plate of food into your face in like 30 seconds while watching TV, one, you're not enjoying that meal.
Right.
Two, you have no idea if that was all that you needed or not. Like it's just fucking a part of you now, Like take some deep breaths. Enjoy your meal. Turn off the fucking TV. Be there with your food.
On the flip side of that is, what's the first meal that comes to mind where you just love it so much that you're just going to shovel, that you're just like, okay, I'm not paying attention. I just want this constant state of sauce or this taste.
There's really not anything anymore because
Really?
like I feel those urges, right? Like I'm not going to deny that there's not things where I'm like, oh, give me more. But like even my favorite things, like I made a deal with my community to take a break from popcorn because I love the fuck out of popcorn. Like if there is popcorn in the house, then
It's
my
gone.
mind and body tells me that the only logical thing to do is to eat all of it so that it's gone.
Right.
Because once it's out of the house, then you're safe, you're free from it.
But then you just
So
go
even
buy
with
it
that,
again.
I have started to like really challenge my urges. So when I feel that urge to eat or do whatever, I take a deep breath, I think about it for a second, ask myself if I'm going to consciously choose to do that or not. And then if I do, I try to take my time. Like it is very easy, especially if you're watching TV or something, to lose that and to start shoveling. But like if I have a bowl of popcorn in my lap, I literally eat it piece by piece.
No shit. Okay.
Single fucking piece by single fucking piece. Some days, like I said, some days if I'm watching a movie or something, I feel those urges again and I'm like, oh shit, I got a handful. I'm not even tasting this. And then I'm like, whoa, slow down. And then I'll pick up the next piece of popcorn. I'll be like, look at you, you weird shaped mother. Okay. And then exactly. Like I eat it piece by piece and I get the full experience that way. I get to enjoy how interesting popcorn is. It's like snowflakes. They're all so different.
You've completely spun my brain around that part of food. I know that there's some times where being new to 1 meal a day, I shovel because I've been waiting for this moment for the past 23 hours and I would love to eat. Something that I haven't had in a while that makes me shovel is poutine. That I just fucking scarf. Just nothing but fat and carbs and sauce, that gravy. And that the one thing I know I always take my time with is steaks. I pride myself in the preparation and consumption of steaks, and that's one thing that I can't let go. That'll always be something for me.
So the next challenge I have to you.
Don't say don't eat steak.
No, fuck. Oh my God. You think I'm a fucking monster? Eat the fucking steak.
Thank God.
No. My next challenge to you is to decide to get poutine soon. Pick a date, put it on your calendar, literally write that shit on there, because you're going to really enjoy all of the little dopamine hits every time that you think about eating that food before you get it. And then when you actually have it, I challenge you to eat that at the slowest pace you can possibly imagine. Like you are a snail trying to compete with a sloth. You're going like as slow as you can. Be fully present. This is your meditation. You're going to meditate over the idea of how fucking good poutine is. And rather than just, smashing it all into your face and then suddenly it's gone, this moment you've been waiting for however long until between now and you getting poutine, like
my mouth is watering right now thinking about it.
Once it's in front of you, every time you feel that urge of your body saying shovel, you make that conscious choice and say, bitch, please. I am going to enjoy this. I'm going to pick up every piece of this. I'm going to inspect it. I'm going to look at this like I'm an alien looking at poutine for the first time ever. Like, this is what you eat? Interesting. Yeah. What an interesting life essence you have, strange creature. Get curious about it.
I can get on board with the meditation. I can say, yes, I'm going to give this my college try. But as far as being that slow on eating poutine, I don't want to overpromise anything. I'll at least give it a shot. I guess this
isn't for me. Like, I'm going to still have a good fucking day, whether you eat this poutine slowly or not. Like, this challenge is from me to you as a gift, because you will see what comes out of the slow pace of eating.
Okay.
If you are unable to do that, it is what it is. Try again another time. But I think what you'll find, what a lot of us have found, is that the slower you go, especially with your eating, like close your eyes when you take that bite. Wow, you're getting in that.
That's only halfway.
Okay. Wow. Well, but for real, like close your eyes, take a deep breath while you're eating it, chew that food until it is nothing. Like, don't be swallowing like whole ass chunks of food.
That's a big problem for a lot of people, is just half chewing and then swallowing. And it's so bad for you. It's so bad.
So enjoy your poutine. I would argue that by shoveling it in, you're not getting the full experience that you deserve out of that poutine.
I can get behind that. Thankfully, I won't have to face this challenge soon because there's no good poutine in Detroit, and the place that had good poutine is now gone. But I guarantee that the next time I go to eat poutine, I'm gonna think back to this moment and think, I have a challenge and it's time to go.
So what's your other food that's nearby that you love that you tend to lose yourself in? Because you can challenge yourself tonight, tomorrow, with your next meal to just slow the fuck down. Like, what are you rushing off to? How long it actually takes you to eat a meal start to finish if you slow down and like disintegrate every bite you chew.
Right. Yeah.
We're talking about like a pretty nominal difference in your day.
5 minutes, maybe.
The lasting sensation, the feeling, the experience, it is so much more powerful. And like you're looking for moments to squeeze meditation in, thinking that you need a minimum of X amount of time. Like this is another way that you can tell yourself it's okay to just be here now. I don't need to worry about what I got to go to next. I'm going to stop. I'm going to pay no attention to anything outside of myself. I'm going to eat this fucking meal and get all up in it.
And it's such a ritual too. And you can make it, oh God, I'm just thinking about poutine now. Looks like we're gonna find ourselves in
Same.
Canada pretty soon. Do you have any good poutine around you?
There's some spots that actually, yeah.
Okay.
Chicago kind of gets like everything.
Yeah.
If you know where to look, like you're gonna find it. I'm in the suburbs of Chicago, so I'm fortunate that there's a place that's not too far away that makes like a bunch of different varieties of poutine, and it's
Okay.
real fucking good, including a pizza poutine. I know, right?
Oh my! We were just in St. Louis visiting some friends, and there was a place that had a Euro pizza, and it's my all-time favorite pizza of all time. And I'm sad to say that like my two favorite pizzas aren't traditional. Barbecue chicken and Euro pizza are like they're my number 1 and 2 hands down.
One of my friends introduced me to Italian beef on pizza. I hadn't known that was a fucking thing until I tried it, and I was like, oh shit.
I couldn't. If you asked me what
Hello.
Italian beef was, I don't think I'd be able to answer.
Oh yeah. It's a Chicago thing. I don't think that a lot of places outside of here get it really, but
Never even heard of it.
like shaved beef, basically. It's pretty thin.
Okay.
Kind of similar to roast beef, but way better flavor. But like out in the Chicago area and I think a few other places in the States, like you can get it on a sandwich, like you get a big ass French bread roll. Like I get mine on garlic bread usually. So you get like a big ass garlic bread. They get all the like sliced beef all up in there. Throw some mozzarella, throw some peppers on top of it.
Oh man. Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm about to blow your fucking mind.
We took a wrong turn. I just ate a little bit ago. I'm ready to go. God damn it. Now when you talk about shaved beef, you got me thinking about cheesesteaks. And now that's where mine is at right now.
Yeah, kind of similar. Someone else is talking about that being like a cheesesteak thing.
Okay.
It's just it's almost like like roast beef, like I said, because it's like folded. You're getting like little pieces of it. It's really small.
Okay.
Looking for a good example of
So sorry, listeners. By the way,
I probably have a good picture. Yes, of course Portillo's has one.
Tortillos? Portillo's. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to. Here we go. So you can
see your screen's flashing.
Some different examples here. I'm dropping it into our little group chat there, or our little thing. And I also found the gut movie, and I put that in there too.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh my god, is that a croissant?
So the one on the left, on the far left, would probably be the most traditional one that you would see, but usually with like mozzarella on top of it too. People generally like cheesy beef. The one on the far right, that's a combo. There's an Italian sausage poking out of there, being all delicious. God. Usually with some jardiniere.
That is a wiener popping out of beef right there.
Most of the time, like people like to get their sandwiches dipped. So they're like everything's kind of just, it's a sloppy mess. But it's one of the best things you could have in your life.
That looks so
Holy
good.
Fuck.
Just this past, I believe it was on Friday or Saturday. The butcher that I go to had Wagyu brats, and I boiled them. It was, have you ever had? I believe it's pronounced Żywiec or Żywiec. It's a Polish lager. So it was a whole green pepper, a whole onion, 2 bottles of Żywiec, the apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, and then garlic, salt, and pepper. And then it boiled in that for about 12 minutes. And then after you're done, you take the peppers and onions out of the pot, and then you fry them in the pan so that they kind of like crispy, get some crisp. And then we threw that on some brioche hot dog buns, and it was fucking
give me
amazing.
That brioche. Yo, you know what I just fucking got introduced to is challah bread.
Yes.
How the fuck did y'all let me last this long without having that in my life?
I know. I just discovered that recently as well.
Yo, I don't know if you know Broman. His wife Amy, she's amazing. Professor Broman, she's a great like cook, chef, whatever. She has a website. She has a link on there for a challah French toast recipe.
I'm not big on French toast. I'd be willing to try it though.
You want this.
And
I'm not that excited over French toast either. Like I would take a lot of other meals before that, but I tried it I tried her recipe. It was my first time trying challah bread, and I made French toast like 3 more times that week. It was so fucking good. And like I said, I don't normally get that excited over French toast, but with that fresh ass challah bread with some fresh like strawberries, oh my god.
There is a sandwich shop that used to be on the east side of where I used to live that would make those giant loaves, and then they would make party subs out of the entire thing. So they would cut it in half and then just layer the meat. Layer. Oh,
I want to live inside of challah bread so that I can just, like wake up in the morning and just like eat my way out.
See, talking about foods that you would not experience if you didn't like get outside your comfort zone and start doing some. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Okay, we're gonna have to change gears here. So, first question.
We're making everyone so hungry.
I know.
I'm sorry, y'all, but like I haven't eaten yet, so suck a butt.
Right. So these podcasts have a tendency to go long. Realistically, how much time do you have to spend? Because I have a Q&A that I want to muscle in here. I have a couple points that I wanted to touch on, but I didn't want to eat into the time of the Q&A.
Let's just go with it. I'm not in a massive rush.
Okay.
I'm excited to eat my salad, but like I'm feeling good.
Okay.
Whatever you want to talk about. Like the last thing I would want is for this to end and you'd be like, damn, I wanted to talk to her about X. And we jumped ahead to Q&A or whatever, you know?
That's going to be my reality because I never remember all the things that I want to say live. I never want to encroach on the guest's time. I want to be as respectful with your time as well because everybody has a life. But like we just did, the joke is that this show is actually called Crocs and Hot Tangents instead of Hot Pockets because most of the time we get on a single subject and it's like, oh, 45 minutes later and we're talking about bread.
I mean, that's the beauty of conversations, right?
It's when I saw, like, obviously, if you couldn't tell, a big inspiration for this podcast is Joe Rogan's podcast. He finds people that he's interested in.
Sorry, who's that?
Nobody. He did like a Fear Factor show one time and he hasn't really been around since.
Oh, it's that guy that ate centipedes.
Yeah. Did he eat centipedes?
I don't know. He made people eat them probably.
He liked it. He liked watching people do it. But yeah, just the act of watching somebody else be like, you know what, I'm going to take this chunk out of a Sunday and sit down and just talk to somebody else. Because again, like when we were talking about the video invite, when I feel like there's so much stuff that is lost with everybody resorting to talking in text, this is something, well, like when you live a life online, whether you're a streamer or a content creator, you lose these personable conversations because you're spending so much time working on your craft and kind of being in your own bubble. And so being able to just kind of sit down and talk and kind of explore all these different things and all the tangents, it's a very valuable part of life. So whatever direction it goes, I'm always satisfied at the end and I'm always wanting to have more conversation, but all good things must come to an end at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Absolutely.
So,
you know what? I'm going to go and just grab my little rolling tray.
Oh,
we can just keep this going.
That sounds good.
Because then I can just roll up a little doobie and we can continue to have a nice conversation about life.
Go for it. Did you just put on slippers, by the way? I knew it. I saw the shuffling of the feet and I'm like, this bitch putting on some slippers. Okay, I will reveal chat. Chat, what's going on? You guys are ripping it up. My butthole is raw. Please stop typing so much. But penis! It's really good to see all you guys. Thank you very much for checking out the show. This has been a fantastic podcast so far. And by the way, audio listeners, if you are here listening in the future, eat a penis. And you're not going to get this wonderful show that the video listeners are going to get. Watch this, guys. Watch this bottle disappear. Anyways, okay, you weren't supposed to see that. That was supposed to be for chat only.
Obviously.
We're just going to move along. Anyways.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, I'll kind of segue us into kind of two different points. There's two kind of, I guess one of the main things was when you were talking that panel for Guardian Con. There was like, hey, you guys know my story. If you don't know my story, you'll have to find out another time. And I'm like, fuck, I really want to know her story. And I know if I try to unpack that now, that it's just going to explode and I won't get to these other points. So what I'll do is I'll have to maybe just tune into a stream and maybe get some, because I wanted to hear about your history and kind of how you got to where you are now. And, you know, you kind of touched on a couple transgressions that you endured through while you were talking on that panel. But kind of one of the most important parts that I wanted to touch on was how you run your stream and certain aspects of it. So you are somebody that I see so much value in your stream because I see that you take all of the things that you are super passionate about and you expand on them using Twitch. You touch on, being very pro mental health and talking people through their problems. I see that you've brought the yoga streams into your channel recently, which it looks like you've been having a shit ton of fun with. And I guarantee that other people have been getting value from it as well. Obviously the video game part of it. And there's just so many different aspects of your show that I like. And so what I want to know is, are there any other parts of your life that you are still super passionate about that haven't been at the forefront of your channel? Or is it every part of your life is part of you, is part of your brand, is part of the channel? Because I know there's kind of like a misconception that you shouldn't be all in on Twitch. You shouldn't have all of your loves and all of your passions kind of sunk into this, because you need to have your outside things, right? You need to have your love and your hobbies outside of Twitch. How do you kind of feel about that?
I think one of the things I'm grateful for is that, like, Twitch isn't my end all be all. Like, I'm not trying to be the biggest streamer on this platform or the best at anything.
Okay.
Like, I see this as a very valuable space where I can learn a lot from a lot of people. And it's so cool. Like, where else can you go and have access to a global audience of people who are going to tell you when you're wrong, who are going to tell you when you're fucking up, but who are also going to be interested in all of the things that you're interested in, you know? Like, one of the things that I like to tell people all the time is we have to stop thinking that we're so unique that we're unrelatable. Like, there are so many different things about you and your personality that if you just opened them up and shared them with people, you might be able to connect on. And the example that I use that usually gets enough laughs is, like, I went to a fucking marble convention once with my dad. Yeah, legit, a marble convention. I still don't know what the fuck the purpose of it was. I got some cool marbles. Like, I was a kid. I was just like, this one looks like a tiger's eye. But there are all these
Whoa.
different names for it. And we went to a literal show. People had like cases to carry their most valuable fucking marbles. And like, not to shit on that, because if that's your thing, dope.
Right.
But whatever you're into, there is a community out there. Like, you are special and unique. You're a really cool creature. You're not the only one who likes the shit you're into, no matter how fucking random or weird.
Yep.
So if you can just get out of your own way a little bit, be vulnerable, like, be honest about the things that you nerd out about, like, you're going to find other people who nerd out about the same shit. So that's kind of the approach that I take with Twitch now, is like, I'm a multifaceted person. I like all kinds of different shit. And I'm also trying really hard to show people that they have someone who cares about them, you know, that they're not alone in this world. And I think what better way than to show them, like, hey, I'm kind of like you know? And in reality, like, there's so many different things that I've connected with people on. And there's so many things that I didn't even know I was interested in until someone else was like, oh, you might like this, you know?
Yep.
But that's kind of what, like, the nature of my channel is it's just like, let's fuck around and experience life together. What are you excited about? Cool, me too. What are you not so excited about? All right, let's talk about that, you know?
Yep. There is a conversation that I've had kind of with my community a lot, is the value of social media as long as you are using it the correct way. And to touch on your point from before, you know, in 10 years ago, you couldn't get online and find this many like-minded people and just find it. You were limited to the people that lived within 25 square miles of you, right? And I am somebody that still has a Facebook, because one of the most valuable parts of Facebook is the Facebook group that exists for my city. How valuable would it have been if my dad could have gone on Facebook 30 years ago and say, hey, I need a plumber. Who knows one? And then you have 20, 30, 40,000 people that have a link to a plumber that has a rating and has customer feedback. Like, it's so fucking valuable to have. And same thing with Twitter. Hey, I'm thinking about getting the newest 2080 NVIDIA GPU. What's the skinny on it? And then you, as your own person, can take everybody else's experiences and inform your own opinion. And it just makes those types of decisions so much better because you have this valuable feedback from other people. And honestly, that's why I've been on Twitch, being able to find a group of people that love the same shit that you do.
It's tap into collective intelligence, which is really fascinating when you see that like none of us has the answer, but together we have it.
Right. Yep. And we're all, as much as some people in chat won't want to admit, we're all learning. We are all learning, whether it's how to be a better person, how to be a better entertainer, how to be a better joint roller. There's so many different things that you can get good at. I remember when I first started to try and branch out of gaming, there's that obvious fear, right, of changing up your content a little bit. In our living room, our second living room, we have something called the craft room, where there's kind of this super long desk that me and my girlfriend share. And we do craft streams where she does paper craft, where she builds like 3D models out of paper and then like hardens them and paints them. And then I started building keyboards. And the amount of people that wanted to just come around and hang out and talk and learn about keyboards. And I was like, what is wrong with people? Why do they all like this thing? And why do I like this thing? And it was such an eye opener for me, realizing that there were so many other people that had interest in these things, and kind of branching out and doing that kind of stuff was one of the best decisions I ever made, because being able to take the creative and craft part of my life, and I feel like when I'm playing games, the creative side of my brain is sort of limited because I can only be so funny. I can only be so quick on my toes. And sure, I can make my overlays look pretty, but if I'm playing a video game, the focus isn't really going to be on my art. That could be a misconception of mine. But when I'm out there and I kind of have creative freedom because it's just whatever the camera is showing, I feel like I can really expand on that. So you said you've been in like graphic design as like your main career for the past however long.
Oh man, I don't even know if I've had a career. When no, I had a company. I'm not a good designer. Like if I tried to create something, it looks like fucking clown shoes mixed with vomit. Like it's trash. But I can guide someone. I can guide someone to a good design if we're talking about like, kind of going at it from like a business perspective or whatever, or trying to create a certain image.
Okay.
So I had a web design and development and like social media company. So I would constantly work with my designers to create websites or artwork or whatever for my clients.
Okay. So I took 3 years of graphic design in college. Kind of the majority of it was starter classes, Photoshop, Illustrator, and design, learning kind of the ins and outs of the programs. In my third year, we had a class that the teacher acted as if they were a client, and they treated the work that you did like a client would. So it was like, oh, hey, this thing's great. It's nothing like I told you what I wanted and you did what I wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted. And what you have gave me is not anywhere near what I was looking for, or asking for revision after revision after revision.
So lots of teachers should get people prepared for design world like that.
Yes. So they were role playing a client, and it is why I stopped going to classes and I ended up changing professions after that, because I realized that I did not have that relationship with art, that I would be able to push through all of that and create a great end product for them. I knew that as soon as money was thrown into the mix of my steps of creation, it kind of fucked it all up for me. And I kind of never looked back after that. So I applaud the people that can do that, because I don't have the brain or the temperament for it.
Yeah, it gets tired real quick for sure. Like the design world, like honestly, I quit. I shut down that company because dealing with web clients, like I love people. I love people, but web clients can suck my nuts. Like that is one of the worst clienteles that I've had out of all the different businesses and jobs that I've had. Most demanding, smallest budgets, most irritable. I've had more people from that company call me names and like go personal attack route over art, over work, over like a 1 pixel difference on some shit that they wanted created. Like weird shit. But that's also how I felt with photography because I was a photographer. Like I started doing random photography work for people when I was like 18.
Okay.
I'm 33 now. I just in the past couple of years have stopped taking commercial work. And now if I pick up my camera, it's because I want to. I sell my prints and that's it. And like, oh my God, it's the same thing for photographers. Like you get into it because you're like, I have an eye, I'm creative, I can make this interesting photo. And then you get a client who's like, I don't look good from that angle. I need you to Photoshop me 10 pounds lighter or whatever. And you're like,
Uh,
you do look good from this angle. Like you're beautiful, but I understand like we're our worst critics, right? But like you deal with some people who just micromanage the whole shoot, and then what they get is trash. They throw a bunch of terrible filters on it and throw that shit on Instagram and tag me, and I'm like, yo, keep
oh,
me away from this train wreck. That was not me.
yep.
So I had to write it into my contracts that if people wanted to post any of my photos that I took for them online, they were not allowed to crop, alter, edit anything,
Oh,
and they had
wow.
to tag me because I was so grossed out by people tagging my business page. And then I'd look at the photo and be like, bitch, I did not do that. Like, you did that. What I gave you was so pretty. And like, that's not me being like, oh, I'm the best artist. But like,
You
this is my
fucked it
fucking
up.
business,
Yeah.
like there's a reason you paid me for this shit. And then you went and like threw all these trash filters on it and you changed the colors and you did that like HDR bump that just makes it look like
Mm,
shit, makes all your fine lines look worse. And it's like, no, I'm not going to get money or business off of that. If anything, like you are hurting my reputation by
right.
trashing my work. I would rather you didn't post it than post it after you fucked it up. So I would tell people like you can't do it. If you're going to post my work, like I'm giving you a print release for these photos. You can get them printed. That is
Oh,
it.
okay.
You can print these photos. I will print them for you. You can share them provided you're not trying to sell them. But here are the rules for sharing. You have to tag my account and you have to not fuck it up. Like, how hard is it to not, you know?
People love Instagram filters.
And they really, ugh. Mm.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
It's
story.
like if you say a word too many times, like it loses all meaning. I think that's people when they go on Instagram and they throw a photo on there. They
Hmm.
see all of the options and they get overwhelmed to the point where they're like, I don't even know what the fuck did it look like at the beginning. Does this look better or worse or the same?
Right.
So they just kind of go with it and then they're like, fuck it. I think that's good.
Yeah, having the super powerful filters works sometimes with like it has to be shot in a very certain light and only have a certain amount of colors. Like, oh yeah, me just one tapping that filter actually looked pretty dope. But most of the other times it's takes some work.
Yep.
It takes a little bit of knowledge. By the way, what was one of my starter questions is always, what are you drinking? What was in your smoothie? Because it was green as fuck.
What is this?
Did
It's
you
from
make it yourself?
Panera.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's from Panera because my man brought me a salad tonight. Because I was anticipating doing this podcast. He was out a little bit late. I ate a bunch of mushrooms earlier, so I didn't want to cook. So now I'm enjoying this and I'm gonna eat food after. But I don't even know. It's like grapes and mango and something else, kale, spinach. I don't
Oh
know.
man, does it taste more fruity than it does green, or is it definitely a green smoothie?
No, it's definitely very fruity. I think the grape or mango maybe are bringing out like the really nice sweetness, and I want to say it's spinach. Is that is
Okay.
that what it is? Kale power smoothie. It's fucking bomb. I love it.
It's one of my favorite things from Panera that unfortunately gives me insane diarrhea is their broccoli and
Mm.
cheddar bread bowl.
Oh, your poor butt. It's really good.
To waterfalls, man. It's unfortunate.
Mhm.
I still get it because like diarrhea is obviously not good, but I'm going to eat a good food if it means diarrhea afterwards. Like if I know the diarrhea is coming, it's fine because I know like
I'm
okay,
lactose intolerant. Yo, I feel you.
like if I know I shouldn't fart for a couple hours, I will put up with that inconvenience just so I can eat that lovely bread bowl, broccoli cheddar. So one of the most like the biggest question I have for you, because this is something that I have a little history about and I'm very curious how you deal with it. My office in my last job used to be called the therapist office. That was so I was a on-site network and IT administrator for a small school district. So all the teachers would come into my office, sprawl and vent and get all their problems, whether it was genuine venting or mindless complaining. They would just go. With my old group of friends, I would always announce that I was always open for talking. If you ever had something you needed to talk about, you needed to get off your chest, I'm here. And I'd spent a lot of time talking with those people. I ended up soaking up everybody's issues and to my own fault, never finding somebody to talk to about my issues. So I held mine in, and then I also kind of subconsciously absorbed everybody else's issues. Now, I know with your stream, you have an open policy, which I would say the majority of streamers probably don't have, of tell me what's wrong with you and let's talk about it. Not only that, but you have your DMs open off stream for people to come in and say things as well. Do you believe that you are the standard or the exception? Do you believe that you have a certain type of brain that can take in other people's problems and give your advice and give your thoughts and then move on without taking in their issues? Because it's somebody that I used to be, and now it's something that I say, like, look, if you send me a DM about your personal issues, I can't help you. If you ask me a technical question, like if you need tech support, I've spent hours and hours and hours with people trying to fix their computers in Discord, and does not affect me one bit. That is my passion, is helping other people with technology. And that's so easy. It's mindless. But when it comes to trying to be a shoulder for somebody, I feel like I have to restrict myself because I'm afraid that I'm going to take on that burden. And then I'm going to be less of that kind of person for the people that I need to be that person for in my life, like my significant other and my really close friends. So please take the floor, because I would love to hear what you have to say about this.
This is always really hard to explain, I think. I used to feel the same way, like taking on everyone's stuff. It was a conscious choice, like, sure, I'll do it, but it was to my own detriment for sure. Like I would get overwhelmed at the end of stream. I would have to go and like, oh, I gotta let go of all of this now. Like, and you know, some people's stories, like, they're heartbreaking. The shit that y'all deal with, like, that is tough. So I think one of the things that's helped me a lot was being able to kind of refocus myself. Like, what can I do is the question I ask myself all the time.
Okay.
Instead of being bogged down by feeling everyone else's pain, I'll take a moment and say, what can I do? If me listening might help them, dope. If me taking some kind of action might help them, dope. But I don't generally get that overwhelmed sensation anymore because I've learned to let go of a lot. So it's kind of like you with helping people troubleshoot tech. In the beginning, that might have been frustrating and overwhelming because you were still kind of figuring it out, right? But now you're like, I don't care if I'm in a good mood or a bad mood. Like, I can help you with your tech stuff. Like, I got you.
I
I'm not going
can.
to be stressing over that at the end of the night, thinking about all the ways that your tech might let you down tomorrow. I will help you with what I know I can help you with now. That's kind of where I'm at with the mental health and mindfulness thing, or just talking to people in general. Is I feel like I've gotten to a point where I've been able to let go of so much and know the right the I've gained some skills that have allowed me to not pile more on, that I feel energized by helping people because it's something that makes sense to me, you know? So it's not that there's something like special or unique about me. It's just that's where my focus has been
Okay.
on, like, while you grew in tech and everything, I worked on like growing inward. I learned as much as I could about myself, how to feel good, how to enjoy every moment instead of being lost ruminating about the past or the future. And then what I learned as I learned more about myself was that opening myself up to me made it easier for me to understand other people too. Like self-compassion leads to outward compassion, as a lot of meditators can tell you.
Right.
So it used to be something that was so overwhelming and so exhausting. And now I'm just like, I know how this works. I'm here for you. There are some people who I have to draw some boundaries for because I'm budgeting my energy. You know, I only have so
Right.
much to get through the day. And this conversation, everything I do takes some of that energy. So we have a rule in my chat that if you're going to come in and you'd like to vent or say anything that you're dealing with, that's fine. But you also have to expect to work because I'm not just going to be your dumping ground for all of your shit so that you can come back in again tomorrow having taken no action in your life, ready to dump more of it on me. Knowing that, like, if I were to say no, you just go to the next person and dump on them.
Right.
No one feels any better from that. So I am open to hearing from anyone at any time, but plan on hearing my honest feedback on what you need to work on or what you could work on or how you could challenge your own thinking about yourself or whatever. Because it's not that it's going to weigh me down in like the sense that it used to, but it's my time. It's my energy. Just me reading those sentences you dropped into my chat took a little bit of that. And I want that fucking energy for myself. I want that. I work really hard to feel good every day. So I want to maximize the use of my energy. I have goals. I have people I care about. I have things that I'm excited about. I want as much of that energy as I can to put towards those things. So I will not waste my energy on someone who won't put the work in for themselves. I will let them know, hey, it's clear you just want to complain. That's cool, but this isn't the place for it. I'm not going to just listen to you tell me all the things that you hate about your life and then when I offer you some feedback or suggestions like, "Hey, what if you tried this?" "No, I couldn't. No, it's too hard." Like, "All right, I'm tapping out then."
I can't help
Like,
you. Okay.
I'm not your sounding board. If you
Right.
want someone to listen, there's a mouth that comes with it.
Do you feel like there's sort of a trade-off where obviously you're a streamer and you probably get, right? You probably get energy from them, from people being in chat and people interacting
Mhm.
with you. You're getting the energy from them. Do you feel like there's like a trade of energy going on, and at some point you're like, okay, this transaction is no longer like two-sided. It's you're just sucking
Yes.
the energy out. And so are you kind of like looking for cues in order to make that distinction? Is there like a certain point in a conversation with somebody where like, okay, you know what? You're obviously not putting any effort into this whatsoever, and we just need to cut this off right now.
Yeah, and I usually call them on it when I start to notice that, like,
I've seen
"Hey,
that.
you've offered up all these different reasons why you can't do these things. Like, I don't think I can help you then, friend. Like, if you're just trying to get all this out, then that's fine. Maybe grab a journal, like go talk to someone if you need to, talk to a therapist, whatever. But like, I just don't have the time. I'm choosing every moment of my day very deliberately, and I'm choosing in this moment to not listen to you talk about all the things that are shitty about your life when you refuse to work on them.
Right.
And I let them know, like, I love you. I love the fuck out of you. I have nothing but love for like every person out there. I want you to feel good. But you got to choose that shit too. You got to put that fucking work in. I can't fix you. I could have all the fucking knowledge in all the world. And if you don't open your fucking mind and then put your little legs to work, like, I can't do shit for you. Like, there is a limit here. And when I get a lot of people who try to give me credit when they start making positive changes in their own lives, they're like, "Oh, I couldn't have done this without you." And I'm like, "Listen, let's bring it down to what it actually is. I talk all the fucking time. I talk all day every day. You in that moment chose to actually fucking hear me.
Yep.
You should be proud of yourself for opening yourself up and then actually putting that work in. because really, like, this, my side of it, that shit's easy. You
Right.
know, like,
So
it's
you
not
know
an
it
easy
already.
task, but it is a simple one, right?
Right.
Self-prioritization, self-understanding. We're all on very similar paths, and that's something that I've learned as I've been doing this now for a couple of years of, like, really talking to people from all over the world about everything they're going through, is everyone thinks they have that thing that makes them unfixable, unlovable, what the fuck ever. It's just not the case. None of you are broken. No one is damaged goods. There is nothing wrong with you. You just simply can do better
Yep.
for yourself in general. You can be better. Like, you can be kinder to yourself. You can give yourself a little break, but it does take some work, you know? Simple concept, challenging execution.
So you said that you and your man, I like how you refer to him as the man or man.
My man.
How did you guys meet? Because you said you were long distance.
Yeah, we actually met from video games. He stumbled upon my stream very early on in my streaming career.
Okay. We have
And we
so much in
started
common. As we are going in this conversation, I'm realizing how much we have in common.
video games, yo.
Video
Yeah,
games, man.
we used to play together. We would play Trials. Like, you were a Destiny fan, right?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
It was another
Destiny
thing I was
had
going to ask you about.
this competitive game mode that was only out on the weekends, and it was called Trials of Osiris, and we would just on Monday nights, myself, my man, and our close friend Dopa, we would call it Trials of Chill Cyrus, and it basically just meant like we were going to take this game type that was very challenging and we were just going to fuck around. So we would drink beers and smoke joints and just like laugh and be ridiculous. And we had been playing like Chill Cyrus for, I don't know, maybe a year or so
Okay.
or more before we like realized that we kind of had a connection.
So when you first said Trials, I thought you meant the dirt bike game where it's like a 2D dirt bike game where you are riding up and trying. I was like, yes, Trials.
Wow, sorry, but I do remember that. Holy shit.
Good fucking game. I remember when it was just like a flash game in a browser.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have only ever played the Destiny 2 beta, and I am kind of ashamed to say that out loud in the presence of you. It's a game that I have wanted to try, but excuses, blah 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 blah. I just haven't gotten around to it, and I haven't done it. I would like to, and I think now is the best time, especially with it being on the platform that I play on so much. I have no excuses. I have plenty of excuses, none that are actually worthy of anything, but need to.
Do you like FPS games normally?
It's yes, absolutely.
Okay. So it's up your alley. I mean, I'm not gonna like shit on you for not jumping on a game that I like. So many fucking video games out there. Holy
Right.
shit. Like, it's Destiny 1, Destiny versus like what it is now. Very different. Still beautiful, awesome game. But it's changed a lot. I'm happy with the way that it seems to be going again. I fell off for a while. Destiny had made some changes that I wasn't like a super fan of. But like, I'm primarily a PvP player.
Okay.
I just want to play against other people, you know?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, my chat kind of mocks me all the time because I used to do all of the like PvE stuff. And then I wound up like getting out of that and just being like, honestly, if I'm gonna be on doing something, like I'm gonna do what I want to do. So I'm just gonna hop on and play PvP. I just want to try and shoot other people.
Right.
Like, I don't want the environment to like, oh cool, I beat a boss. I'm like, all right, who's the best at this? I want to get doo-dooed on by that person as many times as possible until I get one shot on him and can feel good about myself.
Yeah, you know? Good headshot. There's nothing like it. So going back to your point about finding other people, my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend showed her my stream when they were still together, and then we both got dumped within the same like month or something. And then we officially met playing golf with your friends. And that was kind of like the first thing. So good times.
The way shit works out. My man and I were just friends. I was in another relationship and I left that relationship. When I first started streaming on Twitch, I was in a relationship and my ex didn't want me to tell anyone that I was with someone because he fully believed that if anyone knew that I was taken, that it would remove all of the exciting value of like being in a female streamer's chat, you know? And
Oh my.
yeah, like so legit, I wasn't allowed to talk about the fact that I was taken. Yeah, I was supposed to remain mysterious, whatever. It was some fucking bullshit. It was a terrible relationship.
That's the
But I
exact
wound
same
up
thing that my girlfriend went through.
really?
Yeah.
So like I broke up with him, and again, like no one in chat knew that I was with anyone, but I broke up with him and I tweeted out and was like, I'm taking some time off. I don't know how long I'm gonna be gone, but like I gotta work some shit out. I'm like I just needed some time because we had been together a long time and it was a really messy, emotionally abusive relationship. So leaving that was a whole fucking thing. And during that time, like you know how it is being here and having these communities. If I post like I'm having a stomach ache, I'm gonna have people from the community reach out and be like, "Hey, are you okay? Have you tried this?" So I posted saying like I'm going through some shit. I just need a little bit of time. Everything's okay, but like I'm gonna be off stream for a little while. And a bunch of people reached out and offered support. And my now boyfriend is one of the people who did that.
Okay.
And he just happened to catch me like at the right time on the right day where I was just like so grateful to be out of that relationship and looking at my life like in a different way again. And then we realized like kind of quickly that we had a lot in common
Hmm.
because we were buds, but I didn't really know anything about him. I
Right.
didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know. I think I knew maybe how old he was. Like I thought he was somewhere around my age. I knew that he was in Phoenix. I knew like some things about him, but I didn't feel like I had enough to, like, have a connection with him in that way. I was just like, "This is my bud. We have a good connection. He's really chill, and I liked his voice." So it was really easy to, like, play together a lot without getting too, like, close or intimate or anything.
Right.
And then after that breakup and we started talking, we started connecting over, like, music we liked, and then that kind of, like, spread out into us realizing, like, the fuck? Do we like each other? Excuse me?"
I love how the what the fuck is probably kind of a staple of your brand, isn't it?
I get a little shocked sometimes, and I'm just like, "Oh, what the fuck?
The fuck?
Okay." Is it?
Real quick, I have to go pee, so I'm gonna leave you with the daunting task of entertaining everybody in chat for these like 4.5 minutes. Then I'm gonna need to go pee. Okay, okay, that's all I needed to hear.
All right, let's go. Hit me with it. Oh, I do play Hunter, my friends. I started off as Titan, and then I always forget because I just always call things stupid names. Started off as Smash Titan. From there went to Blade Dancer. From there went to Hammers. From there went to Night Stalker. Night Stalker has been my shit ever since. What up, Smokey? And also, I see the rest of you, Snap Pack. I fucking love you. I've been seeing your messages. I appreciate all of you. No. So, y'all are gonna think I'm a fucking weirdo, and I'm okay with that. But I still do tether, and I don't run what do you call it? Quiver? Run black hole. I like the long standing tether. Yes, that's the plan, Momo. I'm feeling great today. I'm excited to do a nice yoga stream in the morning with y'all. I had a good day today. That's the truth, Smokey. That's the truth. All right, everyone, stop talking shit.
Okay, so in regards to urine, how much blood is too much blood?
There's never enough, really.
If only that's how we lived all of our lives. Okay, so kind of final point before we get into the Q&A. Another reason that I fuck with you is because you have a love for Gary Vee as well. And I see that a lot of your life values and a lot of your perspectives and just kind of the way that you carry yourself. I see, I don't know if that was you before you found Gary Vee, or you just like you found somebody that really spoke to you and you've kind of like adapted. But like I know that I have changed listening to him, I would say almost every fucking day for the past like 2 years. There's a lot of things I learned about myself. There's a lot of things that I changed because I realized that I was just being a dickbag about certain things. So I see that in you, and so what I think about is, okay, this is somebody who allows anybody to come to her with their problems. She has her DMs open, but I know that like one of Gary Vee's largest totems is you're complaining. Stop fucking complaining. Do something. Where does that fall in kind of like your mantra? Like, is it you obviously don't have no tolerance for it, because if people are coming to you there, it's not necessarily complaining, it's venting. But where does that kind of fall with you? Do you have a limit, like, okay, you're just being a whiny bitch, or do you kind of just do away with that totally, and so there's no wall and you can kind of hear everything that somebody's trying to say without having like a prejudgment?
I mean, I'm trying to keep the prejudgments out of it in general, knowing that like I could be wrong. I get a sense about people sometimes, and I'm like, I feel like they're just looking for the attention. And if I give that to them, that's all they want out of this experience. They're not trying to grow or learn or challenge themselves. They just want me or everyone else in chat to pay the fuck attention to them, you know? And I could be wrong, but my gut is telling me that's what they want. I'm not going to give them that. Like, sorry, you can't always get what you want. I know that today you feel like the answer to your problems is having a bunch of people commiserate with you, but when it's like every day that you just come
Commiserate.
in and talk about the shit that's wrong in your life, like at a certain point, I'm a tune out. Just let you do your shit. Like, okay, everything sucks. Got it. I disagree, but you don't give a fuck what I think. So just continue to speak out into the void like I'm not a part of this. You know, you've made that clear. So have at it. Um Gary V I like a lot. I don't like religiously consume his content apparently like you do,
His
but I do like
podcast
his
is
attitude.
an everyday thing for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
I will say, like, you were asking, like, how much of this is like a change. I think there's some folks in here who have been around since the beginning of my stream. My like the no fucks given has always kind of been like a staple of it. The compassionate side of that is newer. I was a very angry person. Like that's where the name SheSnaps came from.
okay.
So I definitely was a lot less forgiving when it came to anyone saying or doing something that I disagreed with or that you know made me feel bad, whatever. And now I feel so much more separate from that. So
Okay.
like I still think that there is some serious value in vulgarity because sometimes that can really help people snap out of their own shit.
Oh
And I
yeah.
just enjoy it. You know, it's like throwing confetti into your sentences. It's a little pretty. So
I love when he goes off on people, calling people dicks, and said like, stop being a whiny bitch and just do
mhm,
the thing. Because I mean, really, it's what some people need. It's not for
mhm,
everybody. Like he says all the time. Some people hear me for the first time and go, "What a conceited, arrogant prick." And
mhm,
then obviously, as humans, our first thing is to judge the first thing that we see, make that call, and then move on with our lives. But if you take the time to understand the intent or the context behind what he's saying, or whatever person that you're listening to, you can really see like a totally different story.
mhm. I think the difference now is I used to feel kind of a similar manner. Like the best way to do it is to like be really direct and say like you're fucking up, bud. Like
Yeah.
cut the shit.
Yep.
But I think there are some times where I need to be a little more blunt with people, or else they're just going to continue to kind of like eke around whatever. But I really have steered away from name calling of any kind, or from telling people what their problems are versus trying to ask them questions.
Okay.
You know, like people will come in and they'll have a lot of things to say about everything that's terrible, and sometimes all it takes is like a quick question like, "What's good in your day, though? What could you do that could make your night a little better? What could you do to set yourself up for a good tomorrow?" You know, me just telling you you're being a whiny bitch, for most people, when someone tells us who we are, we immediately bristle and we're like, "Mm-mm, fuck you."
Yep. I'm
So if
out.
I tell someone like you're being a whiny bitch, they might be thinking like, "Yeah, you're right," but they're also gonna be like, "Fuck you, you don't know me."
Yeah.
But if I say like, "Hey, how do you feel right now? Like, does this feel good to you? Is this helping you? Do you feel like you're taking action in your day? Do you feel like you're in control of this?" You know, or whatever. Ask any number of questions about whatever situation they've presented me with. we tend to get further. I firmly believe that we are our own biggest problems and we're also our best solution.
Hmm.
Like when you learn how to cut the shit with yourself and go inward, that's where all of the like healing and that's where all of the answers are. Like I don't have answers for anyone. My advice is always inward. Like turn inward. I
Right.
can help you with certain things that I've researched like on how to create healthier routines, how to cultivate a more positive mindset, and it's not like pretending that nothing is shitty. It's just choosing to place your focus on things that you can take action on or whatever. Like I can help with a lot of that, but ultimately it is on you to make that choice. Like however you're feeling right now, is this how you want to feel tomorrow? If not, what are you going to do about it? Because
Make
if
a
you don't do
choice.
anything, then yeah, like how you feel right now, that's how you're gonna feel tomorrow. That's how you're gonna feel a fucking year from now, 10 years from now.
Right.
Is this what you want 10 years from now? Is to feel like shit and be blaming all your problems on everyone else?
Yeah.
Probably not. You probably want a future that looks very different from whatever it is that you're experiencing now. But you're not gonna get there by just bitching. You're gonna have to work.
Do you, how can I put this? And I guess there's no way that you can know the whole story. You only know what somebody is telling you, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I can give you my advice. I can give you what I think would be best in your situation, but there's no way that I'm going to be able to know everything in your life and or everything that just pertains to that certain situation. So,
Mhm.
um, interesting. By the way, I've been asking you nonstop questions. Did you get a chance to light up, or have I just kept you from?
Oh, no, you just keep going. I'm enjoying this. I'm in no rush to do anything in my
Okay.
life. Like I said, I'm all about taking things slow, friend.
For sure. Well, I think I have touched on everything that I wanted to extract from you. So I guess in terms of what we've been talking about, this has just been me pulling all the information that I wanted from you and giving you nothing in return. But
I wouldn't say that. I'm very much enjoying this exchange. I like talking to people. I like the feeling of being in proximity to curiosity.
that is something that I was so blind to for a really long time. I
Mhm.
think just being a teenager, right, is you are so out of tune and you are so opposed to outside thoughts, outside
Mhm.
opinions. And then at our own rate, we all kind of open ourselves up to, okay, well, what if this certain
Mhm.
thing? Do you have a mentor in your life currently that you can kind of like go to all the time with certain questions and know that you'll get like a straight answer, or do you feel pretty centered and pretty confident in your state of mind right now?
I do feel very confident in my state of mind because I know how much work it took to get me here.
Hmm.
And I'm also excited for the future because I know that I've been working on myself for quite literally just 1 year and 9 months. And in that time, I've been able to let go of anxiety, anger, depression, like lots of rumination, lots of pain, like physical and otherwise. So when I talk to people about the shit that they're dealing with, like, yeah, there's some stuff like that some folks might be dealing with as like a lifelong challenge, but man, you just really have no idea what a week of solid fucking effort for yourself will bring you. And I am still constantly in awe of how I feel. Like, I never ever thought I could feel good. I really didn't. I like feeling in general was something that I struggled with unless it was feeling something unpleasant, feeling pain or anger or sadness or whatever. It was either a void or it was misery. And now I've worked so hard to like connect to myself and to this world that I feel so confident that I won't be shaken from this. I
Right.
know logically brains change, hormones can impact the way that I feel, but I'm not bothered by that. Like there's a chance that like in the future I may battle a depressive episode or something again after having it for my entire fucking life. But I don't need to worry about that now. Right
Right.
now, I can continue to work on understanding myself and my mind a little better. And like meditation, one of the best things that I've gotten out of that was just separation. You know, I think
Yes.
that was what helped me to feel unburdened when people tell me all of the shit that's going on in their lives. Is it's very similar to me being separate from my own thoughts. Now I can notice that I'm having anxious thoughts without becoming anxious. I can notice that I'm having depressive thoughts without becoming depressed. I can notice angry thoughts without feeling angry. So that separation is what is, like, the most comforting to me, is I know if I just keep this work up, even if I'm not on my A game all the time, meditating day, fasting, doing all that stuff, if I just keep up even, like, the most minimal amount of effort for myself, I can keep that separation. I can keep everything in my external life from piling onto my internal life. And this is gonna sound ridiculous, and I definitely wouldn't advocate it for everyone, but I definitely don't have, like, a mentor in my life. I'm very grateful for the use of psychedelics in a, like, kind of therapeutic sense.
Okay.
So, if I start to feel like my external life is starting to creep in and kind of infringe on my internal life, sometimes it helps me to take a day and trip and meditate pretty much the entire time I'm tripping,
No
and
shit.
yeah, and that helps me to remember, like, "Holy fuck, I'm nothing. Like, I'm everything, but I'm nothing." And that's so freeing because we have these identities that make us feel like we are the product of our environment, and that's it. You are who you are because of your childhood or adult trauma. You are who you are because
Oh,
of your thought patterns,
yeah.
whatever. And when you are hallucinating, when you're on a psychedelic, if taken in the right setting, the right set and setting is super fucking crucial. Intentionality is very key with this. You can kind of realize that you're not any of those things. Experiencing even 1 second free from depression, anxiety, anger, all of that stuff was all it took for me to be like, aha, holy fuck. If in that 1 second on that drug, I was able to be free from it, then that tells me it's not a part of me. It was
Right.
never me. It's not something that like I have to hold on to. It's something I can make a conscious choice to let go of.
Yep.
There is some work, like I said, you know, we're battling our automatic programming, you know, I'm trying to overwrite shitty behaviors and thought patterns and replace them with more uplifting, empowering ones. Sometimes I have bad days, sometimes I have really fucking great days. But overall, like, it's that confidence in that kind of overall message of like, I'm not anything. I'm the fucking universe, man. I'm stardust.
Yeah. I am poutine.
Yeah, exactly.
One of
I am both the poutine and I am you experiencing yourself eating the poutine.
and
Like,
the bread.
mm,
A la bread.
yeah, exactly.
One of and that speaks to one of like Gary Vee's main points that I try my hardest to resonate with every day is like, you are not what you think you are. You think that
Mhm.
you are who you are because of the way that you were brought up, because of your parents, because of these outside forces. But like you said, you have the choice to be not that. You have a choice to be
Yep.
something else. And that was kind of a big thing. So super small fact about me. I grew up in a Jehovah's Witness family. I was Jehovah's Witness until I was 19 years old. My extended family is almost all still Jehovah's Witness. And
Mm,
growing up in that environment was
that's tough.
interesting. Very tough, very interesting. I am extremely thankful to still have a very, very good relationship with my parents. As most people know, if you're a Jehovah's
That's not really the
Witness
norm.
and you leave, you're kind of like, oh, okay, you're
Mhm.
Satan. So interesting childhood, pros and cons. But yeah, I mean, once you realize that you have a lot of control over that, it's things become just kind of like the same thing with eating. Things become a
Mhm.
lot more simple when you break it
Yeah.
down and you look at it from a different perspective than what you've been programmed to look at it from.
Yes. And that's one of the things we talk about in my channel all the time is like whoever you are right now, did you choose you, like you as the conscious you, did you choose that? Because if not, you don't have to be it. It may not be an easy thing, but you don't have to be an angry person. You don't have to be an aggressive person or whatever. Like I after I had started feeling better with my depression and anxiety, I still thought like because I was raised with people who had anger issues, because I had always had an anger issue, that was something that would always be a part of me. And being able to let that go was one of the most eye-opening things for me. Like, holy fuck, I'm
I
not an
cannot
angry
I
person.
cannot picture you angry at all.
Yeah, it's shocking. I used to really, oh man, that was my default. Like I was just always simmering. That's kind of what I talk to people in chat about. I was looking for any excuse for me to be shitty to someone if they were shitty to me first. Like I wasn't going to go bully someone. But if someone dared to say something unkind to me, I was like, "Oh, good. All right. I've been
Unleash.
waiting for you, buddy."
Yep.
If someone dared to upset me, then it was like free reign. I'm going to make you cry now.
Mm-hmm.
If someone dared to challenge me like in person, then we'd be throwing hands. Like I was a violent person for a while. And now like seeing that that's not who I am anymore, it's so nice to know like I chose to be this person who's here with you right now. I chose it. I had to work my ass off for it. I will continue to work my ass off for it. But I looked at myself and I was like, who the fuck do I want to be? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of life do I want to live? And the more I thought about it, I was like, I want to be a person who's relaxed. I want to be a person who, when people see me, they're like, I remember her because she was joyful. I remember her because she was curious. So I started trying to find ways to create those habits or those thought processes in myself. So the nicest thing about this is that when you haven't actively chosen to be who you are, your confidence tends to suck,
Mm-hmm.
because you're still basing everything on what other people view you as or think you're supposed to be.
Yep.
When you take that work and you start deciding who you're going to be, oh my God, like the say whatever the fuck you want to me. I do not care. I chose this person right now. Like I created myself. So if you don't like it, that's your shit. I like it. I made
Yep.
it.
Yep.
You know? That's one of the most freeing things. I used to be scared to stream without makeup. I didn't want to post any no filter pictures. Like people can be so unkind to women, especially
Oh
on
my
this
God.
platform. And I
Whew.
was not ready for that. And now I'm just like, fuck, I don't
Suck me.
care. Yeah, like anyone who's gonna be like trying to throw shit at me, I I don't have to take that. They're the ones that are hurting. Like that's when I'm curious. Like, what's going on in your life? Why do you feel like this is the answer? Why do you feel like dragging me down is gonna make you feel better? How can I help? That's why like we don't ban people like on a whim. People have said some real nasty shit to me, and I always give them an opportunity to apologize sincerely and stick around. Like, hey, I get that you're upset. I don't know what you're upset about, but if you
Right.
want to talk to me about it, I'd be happy to talk to you. The only thing is, I don't let people talk to me like that.
Right.
So you have to apologize for what you said, and then you can stick around and we can talk about whatever's going on in your life and we can start trying to work through this together if you want.
I used to be, and this is, I obviously chose to be this way growing up, and it was the group of friends that I was in. The type of people that like to be mean to be funny. And
Mm,
I have come to realize that that is, I don't want any part of that in my
mhm.
friends. I'm okay with giving people shit, and just like kind of poking at friends and stuff. But when people's sole humor and comedic relief is to be mean and belittle and just be a dick, it's so exhausting for me to be around,
Yep.
and I just shy away from it.
Yeah.
Now, I this might be the case for you too, but I like to give the community the opportunity to shit on me because I think it is very important as a streamer to keep my ego at the all-time low. So when they
Mhm.
start things getting a little too, I need them to bring me a little bit down because when I'm here and I'm in my bubble, I don't realize if I'm being a douchebag or not. So I,
Yeah.
I let my community tell me. But if your thing is just always insults or being mean or trying to get a rise out of people to be funny, I just tend to push that in the opposite direction because I spent my whole childhood dealing with people like that, and there's so many other ways to be good friends with somebody, and just being a dick
Mhm.
all the time is not one of them for me.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. I feel you there. That's a tough thing when you start realizing that all of your humor and the way you connect with people is by shitting on each other or yourself.
Yep.
Like my close friends in my real life, we were all kind of like starting to get a little bit distant. Like we were still close, but we weren't as connected. And I started worrying that I was going to lose them when I started working on myself, because I felt like they were still kind of stuck in those kind of ruminating patterns where it was just like I just want to vent and complain and not necessarily always work. And I'm so grateful because my very best friends have all like kind of come to their own realizations of like, oh man, life is actually pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Let's just go all up in this. I don't need to be complaining. I don't need to be getting worked up over shit that might not happen. I'm just gonna be here now. Our conversations have changed so much. I'm so grateful.
Life is long. Life is fucking long. There's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, cool. Well, I will stop rating you with my questions and we'll jump into the question and answer. So these were all questions that were taken from chat throughout the majority of the podcast. So the first question comes from Paul. What has been your most memorable Halloween experience? It's one of my mods.
My mom is a wonderful and sweet woman. One year for Halloween, the weather was really terrible, which is pretty common because we're in the Chicago area. Like, we get actual fucking fall. One year it was really rough, and we were not going to be able to go trick or treating, and my mom wasn't about. So she bust out her minivan and she took myself and my siblings and like as many neighbor kids as we could fit into her van. And she took us door to door trick or treating in her van that year.
Oh, that's super fucking sweet.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine like a bunch of fucking kids hopped up on sugar, all cracked out, just trying to go and grab more. Like, oh, no, thank you. She has clearly the patience of a saint to do that.
What's funny about that is at least 50 to 75% of trick-or-treating around this area now is people piling into minivans, driving, unloading, grabbing candy, going in, driving again. So I unfortunately don't have any Halloween experiences because obviously growing up with Jehovah's Witnesses, no holidays. So we sat inside and studied the Bible on Halloween to keep away the demons. So you don't
have any exciting Halloween experiences yet?
Correct. I am going to get some flack for this. I don't like dressing up for Halloween.
That doesn't mean you're not going to have a good Halloween experience.
Right, because I can, like, a good Halloween experience means I go to CVS, get 10 5-for-5 bags of candy, and then just take on some pounds.
There you go.
Usually,
sounds like you got a great experience in your future, followed by some time on the toilet.
Yeah. Halloween, for the most part, lately has been the girlfriend and I dressing up and doing like some dual streams together, which is always a fantastic time. So those are probably my most memorable Halloween experiences. Next question from Alpha. What do you enjoy most about streaming?
The people, the perspective. It's wild to be able to, especially as you work on distancing yourself from your ego, you know, which is always a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild how much you can learn in a day of being live and having so many people as a part of the community, like poke at you and try and tell you your business and try and ask you questions. It's a really fun challenge for me. Like sometimes people are very well-meaning, but they can get very like, let me explain to you everything that you need to do for your career and for whatever. And it used to be the type of thing that my ego would like kick in and be like, fuck them. You know, like they don't know me. They don't know all the work I've put into this. How dare they try and tell me my fucking business? And now I see it and I'm like, I feel my ego just got like a little pink.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, okay, let's not let you go full fucking dick mode. Let's just take a deep breath and look at this and say like,
long dick style. Right.
Long dick style. And usually it's a person who cares.
Yep.
You know, like instead of being agitated now by a lot of people who tend to offer unsolicited advice, I'm just like, thank you for caring. That's really nice. Like, holy fuck. That's cool that you took time out of your day to like share something that you thought would help me. Unfortunately, I already knew the fucking shit you told me, but I still appreciate you.
And I mean, with you being in a position where you are constantly taking in other people's problems and issues and transgressions, you probably learn a lot about people in general. So
Mhm.
I sort of miss that part of my life of being an open shoulder for people because you do learn a crazy amount. But unfortunately, and this could be different. This was me, 6 to 8 years ago. It could
Mhm.
be now that maybe I'm in a better mental place where I could be that for somebody else. But am I being the most valuable for somebody else doing that? Or is there something else that I can do that might be better for me and might be better for the other person, like the tech support thing? So that's something that I'm trying to kind of work through because I enjoy being someone for someone, right?
Mhm.
There's definitely some heartwarming feelings. I don't know if it's pride or if it's ego, but there's a lot of there's just something that feels really good about being that person for
Mhm.
somebody. And it kind of sucks that I can't do that for people because I want to. But maybe that's just not what I'm supposed to be doing with my time, and I'm kind of open to that as well.
I mean, really, like, the best advice I can give for anyone who wants to be that shoulder for other people but are struggling to is, like, tend your own garden first, you know? Once you feel like you're at a point where you know who you are, where you have some good healthy habits in place, and where you can let go of things at will, whether it takes a little bit of effort or not, you can say, like, "There's only so much I can do. I'm not gonna let myself freak out over the fact that they're having a hard time when I can't do anything about it. I'm gonna do what I can do, and that's gonna be to listen, talk, whatever." But I think if especially for you personally, like, if you continue on with your meditation practice, if you start learning new ways to be present in every moment, you'll start finding that opening up to other people doesn't hurt the way it once did, because you can
Okay.
kind of see it and be like, "I feel that. I've felt that." And you have this exciting feeling of, like, hope for them instead of this feeling of overwhelming despair, like, wow, their life really is hard. It's more like, wow, even in the midst of all of that, I've talked to so many people who've had it worse, better, whatever, like, the experiences are so similar across the board. There's hope for all of us. It's just, are you ready to turn inward, you know?
Right.
That's really what it is. So if someone wants to reach out and, like, use you to kind of let go of stuff, I would say, like, budget out your time. Think about what you actually are capable of doing for them. And if you don't feel like they're putting in the work, tell them, like, "Hey, this is not a good use of my time or yours. Neither of us are growing or connecting in this way because I'm presenting things and you're presenting me with options or with obstacles or, like, I couldn't do that. I can't do that. I have all these different things that prevent me." And you could just try it, you know?
Hmm.
But I think if you continue on your mental health and, like, mindfulness journey, you'll find that opening yourself up to people is a very energizing feeling where it once may have been very draining.
And maybe that's where my reservations come from, is me thinking that I will have to open up. And I'm not necessarily against it, but maybe I'm shy about it. Maybe that's something that I need to explore.
Yeah, I mean, where does that shyness come from? What are you afraid of? What could possibly go wrong here, you know?
Right,
There's a
right.
lot to analyze and dig into there, but it if it helps at all, not this past year, but the year before was, I spoke at Guardian Con for the first time, and I had been doing, like, the advice and answering DMs and doing all that stuff for however long before that, but I hadn't done it in person yet. I wasn't at a point yet where I had, hundreds or thousands of people coming up to me, telling me the things that are going on in their life and how I've helped them or how they're hurting or whatever. I almost quit after that Guardian Con
Really?
because I was exhausted. I was so drained. I was hurting for everyone who was hurting. I was grateful, but it was so much. Like, I remember being at a bar and, like, I always loved going to all of the after parties and trying to make myself, like, visible wherever I was needed, so to speak. Um, but, like, I remember being kind of wedged into a corner at a bar and there was, like, a line of people and it kept kinda swapping out and more people would come up and talk to me. And I had literally been, had people crying on my shoulder that night. Probably like 30 fucking people had cried on my shoulder that night at the bar.
Oh my
A lot of
God.
it was tears of joy, but like, you know, when you open up a lot about yourself and then people start sharing, it's going to happen. But I was so exhausted by it that I talked to my boyfriend that night and I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm cut out for this. I'm exhausted. I feel like I need like a 2-week detox now. Like I need a vacation. I need to process. I need to like heal from this, you know? In a year's time, the work that I put in on myself made such a massive difference that this year, same thing, Guardian Con, talked about everything.
Which was fantastic, by the way. You
Thank
absolutely
you.
killed that.
Thank you. So it was the same thing. Talked about all the things and stuff. People came up and approached me. You know, the channel and the community have grown since then. So the lines are even a little bit longer now. And instead of feeling so exhausted at the end of it, I remember the last night of Guardian Con, it was like 2, almost 3 a.m. And I'd just been going like morning till night that whole week there. And I was like, holy fuck, I feel great. I I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight. I'm gonna feel good tomorrow. I I had established such a good separation between myself and my own emotions that now I have that with myself and other people's emotions too. I see it. I feel your pain. I feel it so fucking hard. If I lean into that, I will cry my eyes out right this fucking second for how much I hurt for you. But I can also take a step back and in like a moment of deep breathing, regain control and be like, wow, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you trusted me with this. I'm so glad that I can take this for you and like still feel good. I was energized as fuck, man. I'm telling you. My friends were all ready to go home and I was like, shit, it's 3 a.m. I could still go. I could keep going. Who else wants to tell me all the shit that's wrong in their life? I got you. I
Right.
will take all of it on for you. I made so much room just for all of your shit. I got you.
And the fact that you have a platform like Twitch that has enabled you to kind of capture this entire new life, it makes you have like a lot of admiration for the platform. Maybe it's not necessarily the name Twitch as a platform, but just the internet and being able to enable you to do all of these things. It's breathtaking sometimes. It really makes you appreciate what we have access to in 2019.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing it taught me was like that connection is super important. Your connection to yourself and your connection to other people. If you're one of those people who's like, I fucking hate people. People suck. Like, you don't hate people. Fuck off. Quit lying to yourself. You want them to love you as you are.
Right. You got to
It
find
starts
your
with you
people.
loving yourself as you are.
Yeah.
I had not had any good relationships in my life until I started prioritizing my relationship with myself. And then after that, my man came into my life. He's like the best thing that's ever happened to me.
The
He's such a
man.
he's such a kind person and he's so interesting and insightful and very chill, which was really nice. It's the healthiest relationship I've ever had. And it's wild to me now, like when I talk to people about him and I say, like, in over 3 years of dating, he's never raised his voice to me once. People are blown away by that.
Oh
And
yeah.
the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wow, how sad is that? You know, I was shocked by that. Now I'm seeing other people are also shocked by that. But like, you deserve to feel good. You deserve relationships that are positive in your life. And connection, whether you like it or not, is a part of us. It is ingrained in us. We are designed to be around and flourish with other people. We are
Right.
our best selves when we have a good and supportive community at our backs.
100%. And in my answer for what's my favorite thing about streaming, the people, honestly, just being, not just being live, but just being involved in a community. Have you ever heard of the band Coheed and Cambria?
Yeah,
I would assume so. So I have a dragonfly tattoo on my arm that is
I
for
like it.
that. Before I got into Twitch, I got into an online forum that was for Coheed and Cambria, and I have an insane amount of friends that I all met through that website. We went on vacation together, multiple places,
That's
Montana, just amazing. So I have a huge place in my heart for online communities in general. But just being able to, there's an art piece that might be, where is my mouse? And I feel like normally I wouldn't take the time to try and find this, but I feel like it's very important to the conversation. There is a art piece called Find the Others, which the premise of the art piece is like you need to spend the time and find the other people that are about what you are about. And I'm pretty sure I have it saved on a wish list here. I'm just gonna mumble install until I can find the thing. 1Password, please log in. My internet's so slow. Oh god. Lists, art, find the others. Okay. Drop this website, please. Okay. So I'll post this in chat in case anybody's curious. So the description of the art piece is: admit it, you aren't like them. You're not even close. You may occasionally dress yourself up as one of them, watch the same mindless television shows as they do, maybe even eat the same fast food sometimes. But it seems that the more you try and fit in, the more you feel like an outsider. Watching the normal people as they go about their automatic existences. For every time you say club passwords like "have a nice day" and "weather's awful today, eh?" you yearn inside to say forbidden things like "tell me something that makes you cry" or "what do you think deja vu is for?" Face it, you even want to talk to that girl in the elevator, but what if that girl in the elevator and the balding man who walks past your cubicle at work are thinking the same thing? Who knows what you might learn from taking a chance on conversation with a stranger? Everyone carries a piece of the puzzle. Nobody comes into your life by mere coincidence. Trust your instincts. Do the unexpected. Find the others.
Like it.
Like it a fucking lot. That's been in my Amazon wish list for quite some time. But that's kind of been my mantra on Twitch. I've spent my entire life having friends and group of friends that weren't into the same things in me. And I could never have deep, meaningful conversations about the things that I was passionate about. And then I found online communities where you could instantly connect with people all around the world. And then Twitch, where I could explore my love of gaming and of, IRL and building keyboards and, podcasting. I didn't think I was ever getting into podcasting. I didn't know that I liked people so much that I would want to take a huge chunk out of a day to just sit down and talk to people. And I feel like out of all of the things that I do on Twitch, sitting here and talking to people and experiencing life with people in chat is one of the best things that I've come across in my life so far.
I feel that real fucking hard. Word.
All right, next question comes from Jehobe. How did you pronounce it? Jehobe? Jobe Sorbet. Question for both. Since meal prep is pretty much garbo. Oh no, where's the rest of the question? Oh, it got cut off.
Fuck you, Jobe.
No, Jobe, if you're still around, can you repost your question? I'm so sorry. My chatbot for grabbing questions has been fucking up lately, and it only took half of your question. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Jobe, if you're still around. This one comes from Vaughn. With OMAD, do you make exceptions for weekends or events, or do you just adjust the time of day you have a single meal?
For me, it's like a lifestyle, like you're choosing to do this as often as you possibly can. So, like you were talking about, like kind of having the guilt of not doing it. Like, I think if you go into that choosing not to like make yourself feel guilty for not abiding, it's like exercise. As often as you can do it, it's gonna be good for you. On the days you're not doing it, you don't have to beat yourself up. The more time you take off, yeah, you're going to potentially have some physiological like symptoms. You might notice the hunger cravings start to come back and fluctuate, but you've already done it once. You just begin again, get back into that routine, get back into whatever routine or schedule that you have that feels best for you and go at it. But like if we're traveling, I want to experience as much of the food in the new place that I'm at. So yeah, I'll take a little tummy discomfort sometimes for the sake of having breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that I can try all the fucking food.
Yep.
I know when I get home, I know that weekend I might wind up doing a 24-hour fast as like a nice little kind of reset button before getting back into my routine. But it's not something that you have to be like, this is my diet now. I have to be strict with it. It's more of like a lifestyle that you're choosing based on the benefits that you know that it can bring into your life.
Right. just to piggyback off what she's saying, being somebody who works a full-time job and streams and has a house and a girlfriend, the time that I have open to hanging out with friends is pretty limited. So if my friend says, hey, I'm going out for my birthday and I haven't seen you for 4 months, I'm not going to show up and be like, yeah, by the way, I'm fasting. So I'm just like not going to enjoy the night. I'm just going to watch you all eat and drink. I'm going to gorge. Like, I am going to enjoy the time. Obviously, if you have like, if you're doing it every week, multiple times a week, you're probably going to start building a bad habit. But if you can recognize that it's just a one-time thing and the next day you can just go back right into it. Obviously, if you eat late, that next morning is going to be pretty tough of trying to fast through the day. I don't know about you, but if I eat and drink late, like tomorrow afternoon is going to be fucking tough because my body's going to be wanting some sustenance pretty early in the morning. But as long as you can get right back on that train, it's not too bad. So I am somebody who isn't like, I have to do this, stick to this schedule at all times. I'm on vacation in fucking Paris and I'm just drinking seltzer water all day. I got life to experience. No, it's not for me. You got to take breaks every once in a while.
Agreed.
All right, so Jehobe Sorbet asks, since meal prep sucks, how do you prep for eating fresh? How do you prep to cook something, shop ahead, or wait till the meal? What if you can't decide what to eat?
I haven't really had too many instances where I can't decide. When that does happen, that's like, if I'm not feeling like anything, then I default to something that's healthy because I'm like, well, fuck it. If I'm not eating for the sport of it, I might as well eat for the utility and eat something that I'm going to feel good after having, so I'll have something a little bit cleaner. Sometimes we prep on a week by week basis. Sometimes it's a day by day thing. It's all based on our schedule and our routine. We try to bring as much foresight as we can into it, but it's not always feasible. Like anyone who was watching my stream this past week, our schedules were kind of all over the place. So we wound up eating a lot more stuff that he brought home versus me cooking. But
Right.
That's usually not the norm. Normally, like I'm cooking after stream and then eat.
For me and my girlfriend and I, we have a list called, or an app called AnyList, where it's basically just a grocery list app that we share. So like if I'm at work and I say, hey, can you add toilet paper and so to the list? And then she'll do that. We pretty much plan our meals a week in advance. We try and go grocery shopping once a week, usually on the weekends. And we'll say, okay, what do you want for dinner? This. We always buy some shitty frozen meals for the days like, okay, I had to work an hour late. I have to stream in 20 minutes. What can we eat? So Hot Pockets obviously are on there. Some frozen pizzas, some frozen meals and stuff like that. For the most part, we just, through kind of this fasting and me learning how to cook over the past couple of years, I have started to experience with different meals. And I just find the things that, hey, I know I have 30 minutes. I know that I can throw this meal together in 15 and I'll be fine. But I would say usually a week in advance, we brainstorm, what are you craving this week? And she'll say, I want the Greek bowls. I want the skirt steak and sweet potatoes. And we'll just buy pretty much based off of that.
Feel that.
Next question, also from Vaughn. Knackers, when you choked early on your drink, did you wonder if that was the end? SheSnaps, you stayed pretty incredibly calm during that, and the show kept going. So when you were talking about eyeball fucking your cabinet, I hadn't heard anybody say eyeball fuck in quite some time, and that's why I choked.
I'm glad I could bring that into your life today, because now, like someday, like this week, you're gonna find the perfect opportunity to insert that into conversation and make someone else choke on their drink.
Yes. And in return, I feel like I need to give something to you. One of our favorite sayings around these parts, which can be used as a positive, as a negative, but it's get that ass sucked. So you can either say like, I don't like you. I haven't showered in a couple days. Suck on my ass, you dick. Or it's like, dude, fucking awesome. Let me suck on your ass. It's both ways. So
yeah, that makes sense.
If you're ever feeling like you need to get something done or you need to lay down some pipe, you just say, dude, somebody get that ass sucked? Please. So if you find a way that you can muscle that into your daily routine, I'll
journal it later. I'll do some creative writing exercises, see how I can bring that in.
Are you gonna live journal it, or are we talking like journal?
No, like a journal.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'm gonna write about you in my diary.
I had a great podcast today.
It's actually going to be a lot more like, man, this guy.
Can't fucking believe this. Sucking ass? Are you kidding me? What kind of podcast is this? Next question from Hellhound. This is for you, Snaps. Favorite Guardian class?
Hunter Night Stalker.
Hunter Night Stalker?
That's my shit.
Okay.
I'm a wiggly hunter.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like dope shit.
It is dope shit.
I feel out of my element. I'll play it one day. One day. I don't know when. The main road bump for me is for the past year and a half, I've let my subs choose the games that I play on stream. So I'm currently just making my way through a list of single player campaigns, and there's at least 15 more that I have to get through before I can start choosing my games again. So we'll get there eventually. We'll see. We'll see.
I believe in you.
Thank you. This one comes from Paul. What is the ultimate OMAD? I don't know if he means like OMAD meal. Like what's the ultimate?
Like what is your exciting, like, holy shit, I have a food boner. I got all the food laid out in front of me. Like your one meal a day, if it could be the ultimate meal, what is it?
Oof. Do you have an idea? Because I need to think.
Oh yeah, I got an idea.
Okay.
It's usually breakfast foods because Brenner is my shit. So I'm a big fan of having eggs, bacon, pancakes, and toast. And like, if I'm gonna make pancakes, which is not an all the time thing, but if I'm gonna make pancakes, I'm making them in the bacon grease. So they're basically like deep fried pancakes. And I like to make them with a little bit of bacon in the pancakes as well, little itty bitty bits of crumbly bacon. I throw some banana, I throw some chocolate up in that bitch.
Oh my God.
I have my eggs, bacon, and pancakes and toast all and just maple bacon, by the way, crispy. That's important.
Dude, Applewood maple bacon, fucking hands down. So the amount of meals that I really, really love, I haven't necessarily had them as my one meal a day yet. Eggs Benedict. If I'm going to boast, I make a really fucking good Eggs Benedict.
That's something you should boast about. Lots of people fuck that up.
I will tell you, the easiest, there's two very key points that involve the poached egg and the hollandaise sauce. The key to a poached egg is straining the loose egg whites with a wire mesh strainer and having your water. They need to be fresh eggs. The fresher the egg, the better the poach. The water needs to be at the perfect 180 degrees when you are poaching them. And for the hollandaise, the easiest way to make hollandaise is to have a hand blender. So what you do is you put egg, lemon juice, salt in a cup. You bring up the butter to melt, and then you blend the eggs as you slowly pour in butter, and you will get perfect hollandaise every fucking time.
Note the slowly part of that. You cannot be just going balls deep, dropping butter in there. You're going to fuck up your hollandaise real quick.
So good.
Gotta go slow.
One of the meals recently that's been one of my favorite food prep meals, but as a fresh dish, it's really, really good. It's a Greek bowl. It is homemade tzatziki sauce. It's a cucumber salad that has like a rosemary, salt, pepper, and red wine vinaigrette dressing. And then rice, marinated chicken, red onion, the cucumber salad, and then the tzatziki sauce. And you just
sounds fucking good.
Mix it all up into a bowl and timelessly shovel in a slow pace.
There you go. There you go. Now I like it.
But other than those two, honestly, a reverse seared ribeye, like a reverse seared butter basted ribeye in cast iron, is hands down the best way to have a steak, and it's my favorite way to make a steak.
I want my steak as rare as possible.
Like
I fucking love
rare.
Like, okay, so here's my steak. Go like this, and then give it to me.
Okay. That rare. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but you guys all just learned something about snaps. Okay, be careful. All right, the final.
I was gonna say I have room for like one more question, and then I'm ready to go and eat my salad and start winding my brain down here.
Perfect. So we got one final question.
Woo!
Playing one-handed. Do you know if any specific meditation for coping with grief or moving on with life after loss? Also, grapes. Smiley face.
I did a podcast episode on moving forward after a loss. My dad died in January unexpectedly, and it was the only time in my life that I had dealt with a loss while I was already in like a good state of mind. So I was blown away by how different the like healing process can be when you're kind of actively prioritizing yourself during that. So if you're looking for any additional like pointers on that, I would say check out that podcast. I put a lot of work into like researching the grief process and how it works. And that goes for the loss of anything. Like it can be the loss of a relationship, it can be like someone passing away, or it can be a breakup. Our bodies kind of process things in similar ways, or our minds do at least. As far as meditations, I think anything with compassion at the core is going to be really good. But really, like a lot of what you deal with after a loss is your brain is going to try to put you in that place where you're thinking about all the times that you're going to lose because they're not there. And that can be really hard. So I think reframing with gratitude at like the core is probably the thing that helped me the most, was finding ways to be grateful, not just for my experiences with that person before I lost them, but feeling grateful for like every part of my existence in the meantime. One of the things I did after my dad died and I took like 2 weeks off of streaming, I spent a lot of time verbally practicing gratitude. Like it sounds ridiculous and it sounds like hippie bullshit that if you had told me I was going to do this 2 years ago, I would have been like, ah, fuck you. You're fucking crazy. But I literally like walk around my house sometimes to help myself feel better. And I put my hands on the things that are around me. I put my hands on the house, like the walls, put my hands on things that bring me joy. And I tell my things that I'm grateful for them, or I say thank you. So I'll like put my hands on my favorite chair in the living room. I'll say, I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being a place where I feel comfortable meditating all the time. I go put my hands on my table. Thank you for holding up all my shit. You do a lot here.
My food.
Yeah, it sounds really ridiculous, but I tell people all the time after my dad died, I cried more out of gratitude than out of grief. And I would not have expected that to happen. And I still feel that, like, at any point, if I spend too much time practicing gratitude, I want to just like sit and weep out of joy of how like beautiful this world is, because there is so much to be thankful for. So fucking much.
It's
That would
easy to
be my
get caught up
advice.
and miss it all.
Amen.
Awesome. Well, Snaps, you have endured one of the longest podcasts that I've had to date. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on here and gracing everybody with your presence. I am very thankful for you to kind of open up and answer all of my questions that I had. It's been, I'll say it, it's been an honor having you on. I really, really appreciate you taking a chance on just being on here and enduring a 9-minute invite video. I've learned a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of people in chat that have gotten a lot of value from tonight. And that's kind of like one of my main points is how can we make our conversations as valuable for other people so that we can kind of all learn. And thank you so much for being on.
Totally. I'm really grateful to have had a chance to be here. I like talking to people, you know? So if anyone was listening and they learned anything from this, dope. If it got you to start questioning some of your own actions or thought processes, even better.
What I'd like you to do is please shame the hell out. I'd love for you to talk about anything that you have going on, upcoming streams, upcoming announcements, anything exciting that's going on in your life. Feel free to shoot it out now.
There's so much. It's a whole thing.
Lay it all out.
Just search Mind of Snaps and you'll find all of my like social media stuff. And then twitch.tv/SheSnaps is how you find my streams. Enzo, no. Hey, buddy, that's not how that works. He thinks that like if he bunches up his bed enough, eventually it will be like perfect. But he doesn't understand, like it's a rectangle. You know, you bunch it up after a while, like you got nothing, bud. You know, like you're just bunching it up into something that you can't fit your fat ass on. Get your fucking mind right, bud.
Poor buddy.
I know. But yeah, that's it. Like I think I'm relatively easy to find. I'm gonna be doing my yoga streams again this week. Monday through Friday is when I'm live on stream on Twitch. I stream from 6 to 8 a.m. ish to do the yoga stream. That's Central Time, to do yoga and mindfulness and just kind of start our days with some intention. We've started doing a 5-minute meditation at the end of that, which is nice. And then I take a nice big break and I get a lot of work done, and then I stream again starting at 2 Central. So like you were saying, my DMs are open. Anyone who wants to talk about anything, feel free to hit me up. But just remember, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I'm not gonna be able to help you like work through childhood issues or trauma or anything. I can help you with some reasonable goal setting. I can be a person who cares. But I will not just be a sounding board. So if you're looking for another person to vent to about all the reasons why shit sucks, I'm not that guy.
From what I saw when I was looking at chat, your community did a fantastic job of representing you. And it seems like everybody got along really well. I saw some conversations going back and forth. So, NACPAC, you're more than welcome to head over there and hang out. I guarantee you guys will have a good time. Snaps, again, thank you for taking 3 hours out of your Sunday. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking that amount of time to just be here and talk. I really appreciate it, and thank you.
It's been enjoyable. I like it. You're a cool dude, and I'm glad that you sent me that long ass fucking video with all of the audacity.
The audacity! I appreciate it very much. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you want to stick around for us to raid another streamer, I'd greatly appreciate it, and share the love to somebody else. If you get up and out of here, have a wonderful night. We will be around for next week, episode 105, Middle Age Stream. Salty Sam and Rebel Ruby will be on the podcast, and that is our last podcast before me going away for TwitchCon. So you guys all have... Are you going to go by chance? Oh.
No, not this year.
Okay. I can see him like shuffling the bed.
I think the cat was in here and she ninja'd out of here quickly. So then he was like, huh? And then the other one was like, huh?
Good shit. All right, everybody have a fantastic night. Thank you so much. You guys all have a good one. Goodbye.